like as the game starts, I'll like talk about how, hey, we're gonna have Mike, one of our roster players who does play on the league team, who's subbing in on today. He's gonna join our broadcast once the game starts. Yeah, so it's gonna be, if we want to start as soon as possible, me and Mackenzie can intro, and then when gameplay actually starts and he's here, is when he'll hop in. Yeah. If we want to start, if he makes it back in time when we want to start minions, but if we want to start as soon as possible. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the GCU Esports here on YouTube, powered by Rockstar. We are so excited to have all of you here. My name is Jack, joined with my friend here, Mike. Today is League of Legends.
I can't wait for this. This will be a great one.
League of Legends, and you play League of Legends here for our varsity squad. Run me through that. We just talked a little bit about trying out and stuff like that. What was that like? What was that experience?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it was super competitive, honestly. It was a big turnout just like last year. I mean, last year we had, I think, maybe 45, 50 people show up for tryouts, which was awesome. The atmosphere was awesome, you know, getting those competitive games going, multiple lobbies going. I mean, you can just feel the tension in the room. You can hear the loud comms, shout-outs. So it's always a cool experience. I mean, second, third day also just got more competitive as people started getting cut and stuff, like cut days. I mean, but like final days, some of the best League of Legends. I think that was our most competitive tryouts ever, for sure. So,
definitely.
I mean, it was a hype opportunity.
As a scholarship player, obviously, that's a pretty big stepping stone, and even just like your collegiate career here at GCU. And we're playing League of Legends today as you're a sub-roster spot.
I am, yeah.
And so it'll be a little bit easier. Personally, unfortunately, I struggle with League a little bit. You taught me a little bit more behind the scenes before we got started today, which I'm so grateful for because, man, League it's so complex. There's so much more to League of Legends than meets the eye.
Definitely.
And quoting, Optimus Prime right there from Transformers, there's so much more than meets the eye. So obviously, we ran through it a little bit. You gave me some more tips. You'll be helping me with the more specific details, maybe a little more play-by-play from you today, Mike. But I'm excited because as much as I don't know too much about League of Legends, I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to learn about it. You teach me a little bit more along the way. But yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. What would you say? Tell the people. Who do you play as a League of Legends player? Who's your guy? Who's your go-to?
Sure. So I mean, right now, Aatrox's super strong. I think he's the most picked champion of the world play-ins at least right now. I mean, 24 games so far, 50% pick rate, and still the highest win rate champ for his pick rate. I mean, it is insane. That champion is broken. So I've been playing him a little bit in solo queue.
How many characters are there to choose from League of Legends?
I mean, there's so many. I think there's upwards of 130 maybe 140. I don't have an exact answer, but it's definitely in the hundreds, mid hundreds. So I mean,
and so each of these players has their own abilities, correct?
Yeah.
And so what is who creates the game? Remind me.
What do you mean?
Like who's the owner of the game? Is it like Blizzard?
Oh,
or
Riot
Games.
Like Riot Games makes it. So they're the producer for Valorant and League of Legends.
Right. That's right. And so Riot Games team. Quick shout out to you guys. Obviously, 100+ characters that you have to put character design, ability design, all of that into it. That is not an easy task from what I can understand. But
not to mention all those beautiful skins they have. I mean, those pixels are crazy. I mean, just the level of design that they're able to do. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier each year.
Right. And do they have the ability? Can you purchase skins and stuff like that inside the game?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a whole in-game shop. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. And the ranking system is off the charts too. But tell us a little bit about our matchup tonight. Who are we playing?
Sure. I mean, so we're playing a team in our division, the Challengers division for NECC. Our opponents have a pretty solid roster, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think there's a few key bans that we need to look out for. Obviously, I think their mid laner is a very strong player for them. He's currently, I believe, Diamond 1 Azir main. So I think that's going to come off the table for him. I think most of his plays have been on Azir.
Yeah.
Over 50% of his games. So I mean, that's probably coming on the ban table first set for GCU.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe looking at another support ban as well. I mean, support. Big Soraka main.
Yeah.
Over 120 games on Soraka. I think we're going to see that ban because, I mean, that champion right now in the meta, haven't seen it a lot at Worlds, but, I mean, it has a lot of potency in the right matchups if you get it into a solid lane. So I think we're going to be seeing that banned off for the side of GCU as well.
That's good. And obviously, the names of these characters I'm still becoming a little more familiar with. As you'll be able to tell, I won't be super specific in tonight's broadcast as I'm, still picking up the beginnings and the beginner levels of this stuff. But the meta right now,
sure.
Would you say GCU is going to use some of that meta right now, or do they play with a little bit of the past metas.
I definitely think we're going to see a little bit of meta coming in from GCU. I think we have a really strong mid laner in Josiah. A mid. I think he plays a really strong set of champions that fits the meta. I mean, Syndra just got a rework.
Yeah.
It's enabled for today's play in the NECC. So I think we're going to see it come out here. I mean, it's a really strong pick. Nemesis, former pro mid laner, played it in Korean solo queue today, went 6-1, carried every game. The champ is looking absolutely menacing right now. So I would not be surprised if we just see it coming out for GCU here.
And I'm excited to see this, obviously, because, you know, the games can be, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they start a little slower, but they pick up and they get kind of intense, you know. And how nail-biting is it, you know? Do you get nervous at all? Do you get nervous at all playing in these kind of games, these NECC championship kind of type games? You know,
sure, I mean, I can speak to last year at least. I mean, definitely for starters, I mean, when you first start playing the game, first set of competitive games, I mean, it can be a little nerve-wracking. First game of the series. But once you get in there and you're in the zone, you're with your teammates, you're calm, you're focused on the game, focused on winning the game. I mean, the nerves seem to fade a little bit. Clutch moments, it can get a little tougher, but I mean, for the most part, you're just so involved in the game that you've been playing for a few years now. So I mean, really, it's just second nature almost at that point.
I would say that I agree with that, and I think that kind of goes not just for League of Legends, but all of the GCU Esports programs
100%.
and the clubs that we have here for anybody who wants to play. We got Overwatch, we got Rocket League, Valorant, obviously. Watching some League tonight. You know, our first League stream, which I'm super stoked that I'm going to be able to be a part of. You know, I'll throw in some things that I learned from my guy Mike here that you'll see tonight. It's going to be fun. But Mike, do you play anything else other than League?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of strategy games. I think that's what really got me into competitive, right? Because I mean, there's that extra strategy element. I think in solo queue it lacks that strategy element to it, but in competitive it all comes out and comes into fruition when you're in a team environment, focusing on the objectives and securing the win for your team. So
sweet, yeah. Do you have any favorite board games or anything like you?
Favorite board games? I mean, board games overall. I mean.
We're shying away from League of Legends.
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
talking about board games now.
Honestly, the game of life. You know, it's always a classic. It's always a classic. I mean, if you're in with a good group of friends, it's always a classic just to make some silly decisions in the game and
you want
see where it goes.
7 children or you want a dog, like a singular dog.
Do you want to have a good retirement or a bad one? I mean, it's just like the choice.
That's the thing. That's the game of life.
Of course.
And, in this game of life that we're playing, you chose the route of collegiate esports here at GCU, being a League of Legends, a scholarship player for GCU. Oh man, that's great. You know what? We're just gonna. It's like we're on a podcast right now. You watching any TV shows recently?
TV shows, a little bit of Ozarks, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit of Ozarks.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I've stopped a little bit just because I've been pretty busy with school and stuff like that, and then getting involved with some other clubs on campus. So I mean, that's been always fun. But I mean, Ozarks is solid. What about you? What's your go-to show right now?
You can't shy away from The Office.
Office? Okay.
The Office is a great show. I just finished up one of my favorite anime series, Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, I've heard good things about that.
Going to start on the manga real quick. I want to get into that, but, again, we got to focus on school. We're like student athletes, student esport athletes. Personally, I am part of the Rocket League community here, so I enjoy playing with all of those guys. Our Rocket League team actually qualified.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's awesome. First time.
First time. So we're going to be able to see those guys play on the Twitch channels for Rocket League. Pardon me? Oh, our record? Yeah, what's your guys' record?
In NECC right now?
Yeah.
I think we're 2-0, so this is going to be our game for 3-0 right now, and I think we're looking really strong. I think
that's good.
scrims have been going really well. I think we've learned a lot, even if we've lost some of our games. I think losing is always improving. And if you lose, it's honestly probably better because you look more in depth at those games. So.
Right, and so you guys go into the competitive games and you practice like that. Do you guys ever do any team bonding experiences outside of the esports club?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing is post-practice. I mean, everything's almost shut down, right? Just because everything closes at 10 now. But, I mean, we always get food after, trying to at least go to wherever it's open. So just bonding with your teammates that way.
Yeah, definitely. And
getting food sometimes outside of practice, just bonding with the boys.
Where do you guys eat on campus?
Honestly, recently it's been Chick-fil-A.
It's such a go-to.
Yeah, I mean, if you get in, if we're running late at practice, someone will just head over, buy Chick-fil-A for the team, we'll eat it after.
That's great, and that's the whole thing. GCU Esports, that's what we offer.
Yeah,
you're part of the community here. But I'm gonna dive a little deeper into this Chick-fil-A. What's the Chick-fil-A order?
Chick-fil-A order. Okay, so for me, I'm a little abnormal, right? I'm trying to eat a little more calories recently because I'm trying to put on some muscle. But right now, it's 2 12s and a large fry.
2 12 counts on a large
yes,
fry? My guy,
I
I'm
eat
just
too much.
I'm just a regular 12 count on a large
I mean,
fry.
I eat a lot, so I mean.
So this answer my questions. I get poked fun at
Sure.
by my friends and stuff like that for the sauces. Do
Okay.
they short you on your sauces?
Absolutely. If I get 2 nuggets, I need at least 4, and they give me 2 sometimes. I'm like,
But that's
bro,
okay though.
I mean, I gotta eat. Like, I don't know.
I mean 2 12 count nuggets.
I don't know.
That's 24 nuggets.
It
in
is.
a large fry. You get a large drink.
No. Sometimes. Depends on
Sometimes.
the day, but
Depends
most
on
of the time
day.
I try to shy away from the
Depends
drinks.
on the day. Wow, that's good to know. I got a fellow nugget lover here.
Of course.
Of the Chick-fil-A.
The sandwiches aren't bad, but I mean.
Sandwiches aren't bad. You know, sometimes every now and then, you know what, I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna switch it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a Chick-fil-A sandwich. But obviously we have 2 Chick-fil-A's here on campus, Diamondback and the one on Lopes Way. What's your go-to?
Diamondback is closer to my apartment.
That's perfect.
I hit it after class.
That's perfect.
Right in the middle.
Yeah. And there's obviously so much more that GCU offers outside of just our food. We've got, well, I can list a little bit of it. We've got Panda Express. We've got Subway. We've got our own pizza company, which is absolutely amazing. We've got Fresh Fusion and Pita Jungle, which are absolutely phenomenal.
They are great.
Just recently, last year, GCU opened up a Panera over in the Riverbed area with a nectar inside of it, which is super cool. So the variety of food options here is pretty wild compared to a lot of other campuses that we see. Would you say you could give me a top 3? We could say Chick-fil-A's in that top 3.
So I'm a little biased, right? Because I eat a lot of breakfast.
Yeah.
Breakfast is one of my favorite meals, so I might have to put.
Breakfast is for champions.
So I think Chick-fil-A's top tier, not just for breakfast, just because it's both. You know, you can get both things.
Yeah.
Next up for me, probably Herd Stop Breakfast Burrito. Those things are fantastic, and they're such a great deal.
I'll have to hit those up sometime.
$3 for like a 1,000-calorie burrito.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. And then maybe Taco Bell or Qdoba. Both are great options.
Great
George
options.
Depends on the day.
Great options. We're shying a little bit away from the League of Legends area, so we'll hop back into that as we get our games set up. I believe they are running a little bit of into an issue for getting these this lobby set up. Is the custom lobbies, are those easy to set up?
Sometimes they can be a little challenging, right? I mean, it just depends on if the teams are ready, right? And then whether or not everything is in place. Because, I mean, sometimes it can be issues just getting in order and stuff like that. It can take some time. So getting all that and the draft set up, because it'll probably be on like a site, typically like Draftwall or something like that. So getting all that stuff set up can take some time. But
right, and so you draft the players, the characters,
yes.
right? What do you think are some common bands we're going to see?
Like I said, for GCU side, I think we're going to be seeing an Azir and Soraka ban coming out for them, just because they have 2 main champs that are their highest ranks on their team. Right. So I think that'll be definite. And then maybe we'll see a Volibear ban topside as well.
Okay, I see.
For their team, I think we're going to see a potential Aphelios ban coming out, and maybe Zarya as well. I know Doug's a really great AC player. Probably one of our best players on our team.
I see, yeah.
He is extremely proficient on the role, and he can carry some games. So
yeah.
I'd expect to see an Aphelios ban coming out there from their opponents.
Yeah, and I would say it's a little tricky because you have to work around what gets banned. And so as part of the roster, you have to know probably a couple different characters to play. Who else do you play? I think we talked about it, but just remind me.
Yeah, I mean, I personally play a lot of Aatrox and Camille.
Yeah.
Those are my top 2 champs right now. Then I'll sprinkle a little bit of Gangplank in there. A lot of carry top laners, but I'm not afraid to put it on the Maokai. That champ is a little broken in top lane right now, so maybe we'll see it pull out today on one of the sides, but we'll have to see.
And we'll see, obviously, again, how GCU manages to adapt to the bans and the characters that they're going to be going against. Obviously, there's only one map that League of Legends has been playing on for the entire time. How long has League of Legends been around? I
mean, it's been around for Season 12 right now. I mean, they're headed into Season 13.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 13 years plus a half for the beta alpha edition. So, I mean, it's been out for a while.
And it's going strong.
It is.
It is still super popular.
It really is.
Yeah, and it's honestly super cool. Like, I mean, I personally wish I could get into League of Legends, but I feel like there's so much that goes into this
It's a lot.
game.
I mean, every year they add 5 new champs to the game, sometimes more. I mean, not to mention the changes that they make every preseason to the game. I mean, it's absurd for a new player to jump in, but if you learn the game, I mean, it's going to be super rewarding just getting that rank, grinding. Playing with friends is always super fun as well, so, I mean, it's always worth a shot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the clubs here on campus. You don't have to be a part of the scholarship squad if you want to play. You can just come into the esports arena, sit down, just play a game, try and figure it out. You know, you like it, you love it, it happens. If you don't, you can try something else. We've got so many different PCs that offer so many different games, so many different consoles, Switches, Xboxes, PlayStations, the newest versions of those too. Did you ever start off on console? What were the first games that you played?
First games I played, it was probably either Cars 2 on the PlayStation 2. That was my go-to game.
Wait,
those Cars games were my childhood.
So nostalgic right
those
there.
games were fire, but honestly, it was probably before then. It was probably watching strategy games my dad played, like Sid Meier's Civilization 3, top tier. Not gonna lie, Age of Empires 2, top tier.
Okay, yeah,
top tier. I
definitely.
mean, Age of Empires 4 came out like 2 years ago. Never got a chance to play it, but it always looked super fun. I just never got around to it. So.
And so, when did you start playing League of Legends yourself?
Sure. I mean, that was about 5 years ago now. I mean, it started late 2017, so around this time.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've been playing it for a fair bit. Never really got into like the competitive scene, and for about like the first 2 years, didn't really play a lot of ranks. But recently, I've been getting involved a lot more.
Yeah.
Last season, I played for GCU, junior varsity first semester, varsity second semester. Now I'm back on varsity, so
that's awesome.
It's been awesome. Loving the competitive environment, like I said. Love those strategy elements that are present in competitive play. So,
and
that's definitely the
there's math that goes into it too, right? And you know the items. I won't unfortunately be able to talk too much on the items and their abilities. I know we've got AD and AP and stuff like that. Yeah. But obviously, we talked about this a little bit before, how the math can help, coincide with the characters that you choose. And so I mean how much math is there? Like every single character's got a different type of ability and different items that are best for their ability. What can you say on that?
Yeah, sure. So I think actually Riot does a really good job at this. I mean, you don't actually have to do too many calculations because I mean there's a tool for it in the game that you can use. So that's called Practice Tool. So you can pretty much load in, test out different items with a different set of levels, abilities, items, combinations, and then test out DPS on certain targets. So, I mean, that'll pretty much figure out the math for you. You can write it down if you want to, or you can just compare the numbers, write it in chat, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can theory craft a lot in Practice Tool, which I think is very beneficial.
Very interesting.
Also, just comes a lot down to experience, what feels the best. Because, I mean, if you have the highest DPS, that's great.
Yeah.
Does it feel the best, though? I mean, like, for some games, Aatrox, for example, right?
Yeah.
You might want to go the Eclipse, get a little burst damage, but other times you're like, I'm just going to die if I go that. So you got to get the Gore Drinker, get that heal, get that extra HP. So, I mean, it's just like a mind game, understanding the enemy comps and stuff like that.
Stock yourself up, and I think we're just a little bit underway till we get started. Practice obviously makes perfect with any game you play. You know, we've got 5 years on your slate, on your template for this game. I personally, for the Rocket League community, I have about 4 to 5 years as well. And it's been fun playing with them. I do ask, how much longer do we have till this game gets started? Because I am so excited. I am very much looking forward to this. Obviously, League is super complex. You got to know your stuff. And luckily, I have Mike by my side to help me out with the more intricate details of this game as we get this underway. Man, I'm just trying to think of like the other games that I started off with. You know, I think Rocket League was the game that I was most, focused in on, dialed in on, ranking up and stuff like that. How is the ranking system in League of Legends? Is it different at all? Like, can you explain the ranking system?
Sure. So I mean, it ranges from Iron up to Challenger, which is the top rank. Top 300 in North America and other top regions around the world will be Challenger. So pretty much you're looking at top 0.001% for Challenger.
Wow.
But I mean, it's a vast rank, but each level of rank, so diamonds, plat, gold, silver, bronze, and iron, each have 4 levels. So Iron 4 to Iron 1. Iron 1 being the top rank of Iron.
Okay.
So that's like that for every division.
Gotcha.
Then obviously once you get out of Diamond, you're in the Master tier.
Yeah.
After you hit a certain threshold, I think it might be top 1,000 in North America. I'm not 100% sure. You might promote to Grandmaster, and then obviously top 300 for Challenger. So it's a long rank ladder to climb, especially with there being over 4 million active players.
4 million.
I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, other regions have a lot more as well. I mean, you think about China, over like 100 million players across multiple servers. I mean, 6 servers plus a super server. So I mean, China has a crazy league scene as well.
That is amazing. Like, to think that for what is going on year 13, almost 14, or year 13 you said, and over 4 million active players.
Yeah.
Wow. Riot Games, I tip my hat. That is very impressive.
I mean, that's not even including the people that play normal games too. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even play ranked. So I mean, there's a big community that are just casual as well in the league community. So I mean, a lot of experience that you can have.
When did you decide you were going to step from casual to competitive when you joined the league scene?
Sure. I think it was probably around the time where I switched into the jungle role. So I was a jungler before I transitioned into top lane for about a season, and I played a lot of Rek'Sai and stuff like that, and I started climbing. And I really enjoyed it a lot, just getting that experience and climbing up the ranks. So I think that's what really prompted me to take League a little bit more seriously, try and expand my skill set.
That's obviously so very impressive, and I kind of admire you a little bit. You know, when you guys, I mean, obviously we have probably some League watchers here, but when we get into this, obviously, there's more than meets the eye. I said it again. I said it earlier. This game is kind of difficult.
It is.
It's kind of difficult.
And there's so many nuances to it that you have to understand.
Yeah, and like being able to adjust. Obviously, we talked about it earlier. Adjusting your lineup to the lineup that you have, like normally play with. Like, it's different. It's different, and we're gonna see that tonight. I assume we're gonna see a little bit of a different scenario because I believe it's Long Beach Community College is I guess who I'm not 100% sure on that. Pardon me if I'm mistaken, but do you guys do scouting at all? Do you guys look at these other teams and their play styles?
Yeah, I think the main strategy we use is OPGG. It's like a database for all of their solo queue games. So, I mean, you'll get a big, sick identity of, like, what their main champions are, what they're most proficient on. Obviously, you can't get the scrim results right because, I mean, typically those are held in private most of the time. It's harder to get those. But, I mean, solo queue is a big indicator of what people are most proficient on, what they're most comfortable on. I mean, comfort picks come into play so many times, especially in these best 3 settings. We're trying to get those key games. I mean, you might win first game, but if you draw on your comfort picks, I mean, you could win the next 2.
Yeah, I mean, we have a 3-0 record. You said earlier, going into this game, into these matches tonight. It's a best of 3, so first 2 obviously takes the night. We hope that that both teams come out and perform because. Again, I'm excited. I've never had the ability and the opportunity to cast League. Same for yourself.
I mean, this is my first time casting, so I'm super excited.
First time you're killing it right now. I mean, I gotta say, I'm very impressed. You're very, very, very likable, very personable, super charismatic, my guy, Mike. Yeah, we met each other, like a couple of hours ago?
Yeah. I mean, we met each other a couple hours ago. I was trying to explain to him, like, the 140 champs in about 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
We ran through a quick LPL game. Got to watch those LPL matches, see what they're doing.
Which is crazy because Worlds are going on right now.
Yeah.
And NA is obviously top of the top. And we've got, I can't say for sure, but NA and Japan and China. And
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of regions that there. I mean, currently China and Korea are looking at the top right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Eastern regions have been on top of League for a while now. So, I mean, I think currently best odds we're looking at.
Yeah.
We're overall looking at probably LPL, JDG. JDG's looking really strong.
Okay. We have a little bit of interference, unfortunately. If I'm hearing on the headset. I'm not sure how much longer we have until we get into these games. Obviously, we'll do our best to keep you guys entertained. For those watching, we appreciate you sticking around. But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. It's
definitely
fun.
I mean, League of Legends is awesome. I mean, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of action here, especially depending on what spec gets on in the jungle. I mean, jungle is such a key role in the game, facilitating out the early game, then potentially even carrying depending on what champion you're playing later. I mean, it's such a key role. So seeing what champion gets on, if he's on a playmaker, I'm confident in him, especially with all the setup we have in our lanes. Milky Goat does a great job of setting people up. Josiah Mid does a great job roaming with spec around the map. So I think we can see a lot of plays in the early game, and it might not even be that stagnant as you were describing in some pro matches.
This is perfect. Guys, this is going to be a breeze. We're going to have a blast tonight. You hear this guy? He's got it. He's got it on lock. He knows what he's talking about. We did, again, I'm bringing it back up. You know, I do that a lot. We talked earlier before this, the way that the strategy is. You obviously, if I'm going to use some terminology, if I remember, 2 bottom lane.
Yes, there's going to be 2 bot laners. One's a support, one's typically an AD carry, but it could be an APC as well.
Okay.
Pretty much magic damage carry in that sense. So.
Okay. Interesting. And then obviously we have the Drakes.
Yes, Drakes are important in this meta, especially with the soul being so powerful. I mean, you got 5 unique souls in the game right now, a 6th being re-added in preseason this year. So that'll be exciting to see, especially how that'll affect pro play and competitive play. So, I mean, we'll have to see.
And do you wish that I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Do you know if there is a like a college like Worlds, like you know how Worlds is going on
There
right now?
is a Worlds there. I don't know if it's a Worlds Championship. I know there is a regional North American championship for CLOL. It's called the CLOL Series. I mean, that's second semester of the year.
Awesome.
It'll be spring split. I think there's a warm-up circuit for CLOL. I'm not 100% sure on that. Not sure if that's happening this year, but in history there has been a spring semester that's key. I mean, top competitors. I mean, you're looking at Maryville and other colleges like that have big-time esports schools. But honestly, I think if we improve a lot throughout the year, we might have a shot at it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to get in on this. You know what you're talking about. I mean, just sitting here, I can definitely see GCU continuing to expand. Obviously, we're looking into that with promoting our scholarships and through different esports here that we have. Unfortunately, Overwatch tomorrow night, because of the new Overwatch 2 release recently and the crazy queue times, we will not be streaming that. So that is a little bit of a bummer. I was looking forward to doing that with you guys because personally I haven't gotten any Overwatch 2 time myself.
I tried to queue in today. I got stuck in a 2000 queue that was not moving. So
that is crazy. I mean, Blizzard, you're doing it well. Riot Games, you're doing it well. All of the video games, all of the esports community are doing absolutely fantastic right now. Their players are having a great time. Unfortunately, the queue time for the Overwatch 2 beta, or sorry, not beta, the Overwatch 2 game that just released free to play, which is super cool. They've added a ton of new stuff to that game, which is awesome. What are your thoughts on maybe like a League of Legends 2?
League of Legends 2. See, that's the thing about League of Legends, right? I mean, there are so many patches on a bi-weekly basis, right? So I don't know if it's going to be too prevalent for there to be a League of Legends 2, honestly. I think they're just going to keep evolving the game through adaptations, like with the multiple champions, obviously. And I think they have a strong enough player base that if they continue to progress the way they're going, they're going to be able to retain, especially if they keep doing these awesome Worlds events.
Yes, very much so. And I'm getting a little bit of noise in my head, and I think that is time. We are starting in. Tell me, is this the music that we're going into right now? Are we getting in the game right now?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
This is Champ Select right here.
They're doing the Champ Select right now, so I don't know if we're going to be able to see that on screen. I don't know if we have the graphics yet for that. We will find out sooner than later, obviously. You'll tell us a little bit about the lineups and what we're seeing.
Sure thing.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be super fun. Obviously, as a varsity player here, it's gonna be awesome to watch. So we will see how that goes. All right, looks like they are picking right now. Wow. So we've got one pick already. Is that? Remind me, is that Ornn in that top right?
Yeah, it's looking like Ornn going versus Lilia. I wouldn't be surprised if Lilia was flexed here early on in the draft by GCU. I know that Spec plays a mean Lilia, and also C-Splash has a formidable threat on the top lane. I mean, it's a certain good counter pick there and flex pick that they have potency with. So obviously we see the Leona coming out for the Milky Goat, one of the most picked, if not the most picked champions of the world's play-ins this year. And then we see Trundle coming out, most likely for that Ornn counter.
Yeah.
You know, Ornn is that beefy frontliner. He's going to have upwards of 200 MR and armor. Having that Trundle subjugate ability on him will be able to absolutely neutralize that. So, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and this is cool. Obviously, I've yet to be a part of this myself. At these this lineup, these abilities, I'm excited to see how GCU comes out. And if I believe, is that on the left? Is that GCU squad right there?
Yeah, GCU squad's on the left. We got a mid on a signature pick in the mid lane. Aurelia and also Trundle engage and making Ornn a lot squishier. I think he's going to be able to pop off in these fights, dash around, kill the Kai'Sa and Seraphine. They're super squishy.
Yeah.
Making them ideal targets for him.
And that's in that squishy term.
Yeah, I mean, Kai'Sa and Seraphine, low HP, don't build a lot of HP. Not going to get too many resistances. Might see Wits End coming out here, but overall I don't think that really suits it this game. So overall I think they're going to get blown up a lot, especially if they're not careful.
And so we have obviously the lighter characters and we have the heavier characters. Tell me, which one of these characters are those heavier kind of front?
Sure. So I think two of the heavier characters on this the side of LBCC, I believe it is.
I think it is, yeah.
Looking at the Ornn and the Vi, right? Vi's a bruiser, going to build that Divine Sunder looking at, and then Ornn's that Sunfire tank, going to be the main meatball. But he will not actually be that tanky this game because we got the Trundle to counter. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how hard the Trundle's going to carry these fights just by instantly subjugating the Ornn with his ultimate ability.
Gotcha.
Seeing how that plays out. Because, I mean, Trundle's going to be unkillable. He's going to gain 600 HP a second roughly just from that subjugate ability and gain, let's see how that counters by the Aurelia, which is a bad matchup for Vlad.
Yeah, wow, it looks like, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun in an interesting way. They did their bans, but I don't know if we got to see who they banned, which is okay because, you know, it's regardless of they got 5 players against 5 players. We have Ornn, obviously Vi, Vladimir. Katsa is at Seraphine, and then on that left side, my eyes are a little troubling, but the GCU squad there. We are 45 seconds away from the beginning of this match.
It's looking good. I think GCU has a solid shot at this, especially if they make plays early. They have a really good ganking jungler and setup with their laners. Lily has that bit long sleep duration for Ornn in the top lane, so I mean we could be seeing a gank up towards the top side of the map, saying that Ornn even further behind. They're probably going to be focusing on bot, keeping that Kai'Sa and Seraphine safe. I think if Seraphine and Vladimir make it late game, it's going to be really hard for them to play versus it, just because Seraphine has so much potential with her W ability. That shield is massive in team fights, especially with that ultimate. If they're able to connect a multi-man ultimate in an Ornn follow-up, I mean, their team fight has major potency that GCU could struggle against. Yeah,
and here we go. We got 10 seconds remaining. Just want to shout out Rockstar one more time. Rockstar Energy, you guys are great. We appreciate so much for and everything you guys do for us. And we'll thank Canes, too. Canes sponsored that first kickoff meeting that we had here at GCU Esports, and here we go. It is time. We are loading in to this game.
Let's get into some action.
Oh, man.
It's exciting.
GCU, obviously, with a 3-0 record. I don't know if
2-0 right now.
2-0 right now.
3-0 if they win today.
3-0 if they win today. So I don't know exactly what the record of the LBCC team is. Maybe we can have somebody find that out for us, but we will get that to you guys as soon as we can figure that out. Is this LBCC team, is this an NECC team that you guys play
are
against?
In our division, I believe. I'm not sure if they're in exact division, but they are in our bracket, at least our level of competition, which is the Challengers bracket.
I see.
So it'll be interesting to see them. Obviously, I think big topic point here is the runes. Looking like we got the Glacial Augment on the Leona, looking to slow down that backline, make it harder for Kai'Sa and Seraphine to maneuver, which I think is really solid. Not to mention, we got 3 lethal tempos coming out from GCU. I think I agree with about 2 of them, but the Aurelia I think is a little questioning, right? I think it's harder for her to get a lot of those stacks, especially versus all that lockdown they have. Because you got to auto attack to get it, and I think most of the time she's going to be queuing, looking for those Conqueror procs that I think would be so potent in this game.
Yep, and here we go. This and we're underway. We're underway. Our first match of the night. And is this our GCU squad that we're looking at here? No, this is the LBCC squad.
Yeah, we're looking at LBCC right now. I think obviously, this game we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to both sides of the side lanes. I think Amid will probably get a lot of push, but Vladimir's very safe with his pool ability, so want to see how that plays out. Obviously, I think Vi will be focusing more on that bot side, leaving the Ornn as that rock in the top lane, trying to survive in the weak side. But C-Splash, I think, has a lot of potential to bully. I mean, he knows this matchup in and out. He played a lot of Lilia in a solo queue, has a really good understanding of the champ. Same with Spec. So I think him and C-Splash can make a lot of plays towards the top side just based off their knowledge of the champion.
Yeah, and obviously the grass here at Haiju. So that's good. There are some abilities of characters that can spot those, right? And we're taking a look here. The minions are spawning, and these minions are pretty crucial. The first 3 stages, I believe, of the minions.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look for some sneak kills. I mean, you're going to hit off the first 9 minions, you're going to hit level 2 in the bot lane. Could look for a solo kill pressure there, especially with the Leona. If you get your E Zenith Blade ability into your stun ability, you can look for some lethal combos there, especially with the exhaust on Ashe, making it really hard for them to maneuver down there.
Yeah, and here we go. They're taking out. It looks like a golem to me. What is the name of this creature?
This is the blue buff.
This is the blue
really
buff.
Important for jungle. Get some CDR, speed up their clear. I guess ability haste now it is, and also that mana regen. Make sure you're healthy. Spec's looking for the same path. It looks like Looks like Vi's actually pathing up towards the top side. A little interesting here, seeing a change of game plans. I think that's a mistake on her part. Obviously, I think they should be focusing towards that a little bit more, looking towards that bottom lane, protecting them. I don't think Ornn needs that much help, but looks like we see some trading in mid lane.
And remind me, Ornn, that's one of a thicker character.
Yeah, it's definitely a tankier champion, looking at a lot of resistances. Looks like Vladimir looking for some poke on Aurelia. Aurelia just picking up stacks. Looking for the E. Might have soul kill potential here mid. Gets the pull out.
And the minions going at it right now. That's probably my favorite part of this. It's the minions.
So it looks like C-Splash crashed in this second wave top. Bot lane has pressure. Have a level up on their opponents. They hit 2 off this minion, though, so they should be safe. Mid wave's looking interesting. Mid might have to play a little bit safe here.
And remind me, who's the captain of your guys' squad?
I think I am the captain. It is me or Doug, I believe.
Nice. That's
Yes.
awesome.
See some
So,
trading up
yeah.
on the top side of the map here.
Taking their time. Obviously, the beginning of the game is just a little bit slower.
We see Vi on the Raptor camp here. Trundle looking mid here. Pop the Ghost on Vladimir. He is out, Scott. He actually flashes in for the kill. Vi here to follow up. I think Trundle hard wins this, though. So double kill on the Trundle there. Going to look to push in the wave as well. Get that wave in for the Aurelia to reset back.
Wow.
Strong.
That's an impressive
Bot lane look like it's pushing back into GCU. Could be looking for a play here eventually when it comes back in. We'll have to see, though.
And a quick double kill, obviously, for GCU right there. And obviously, again, the respawn time's a little less at the beginning of the games. But once you get down to that nitty-gritty, it gets a little longer, and you got to be very careful with the life that you have.
Absolutely. I think early deaths here are fine for GCU. I think getting a double kill on Trundle can add a lot of potency, especially him getting that accelerated level 6. Very strong champion at level 6, just because of his dueling potential in the jungle. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how that plays out. Horns out of mana on the top side.
You can see right there, we talked about this pre-game, pre-show actually. The more gold you have kind of shows that you're kind of more in the
Stun
lead.
mid lane, but Vi is here to protect Vladimir. Trading, strong trading coming out in the mid lane. Could see another solo kill or even jungle gank look there, potentially, depending on how aggressive mid plays here.
Looks like we're back in spawn. Waiting, we're watching some minions spawn in right now. I think we're figuring out a couple of spectator bugs right now, maybe something like that. We were taking a look at that bottom lane earlier. If you can remind me, here we go. This is that top lane again. What is there a different name for the top lane?
Just call it top lane. I mean, it's pretty much just like the universal role. Pretty much you're left on an island most of the times.
Yeah.
Unless jungler decides to make an intervention. Frowned upon by most top laners, but I mean, oh, we look like a solo kill in the mid lane. Pretty good for the Aurelia there, getting that acceleration on the Vlad, but Vlad does trade it back. And we get a kill in the bot lane based off the setup from the Trundle Pillar into the Leona root and stun combo coming out. So that's another gold. Sadly, Leona got it, but overall, I think getting this wave shoved in, get a large XP lead on bot lane here. Looking good for the first Drake of the game, which are so important in this current meta.
Very much so, and that Drake, is it going to be spawning in anytime soon?
It will be. I think it's going to be starting to spawn in around the 6-minute mark. Not sure if we're going to be able to get timers. We might be able to have that here.
I can see a little time on the top right there underneath the eliminations.
Yeah, looking like we got 15 seconds left. And then obviously, whenever we get that, I think since Trundle's so far ahead, he can look to potentially solo that with bot lane pressure. So
yeah.
You see Vlad popping the pool here in mid. Doesn't look like anything's going to transpire, though.
It looks like
and we see Vi actually on the Drake here, bot side. Yeah, they're on it with Seraphine right now, so they might just be sneaking that away. I mean, Vi is a really good clear of early Drakes, so could just get that for free. And I don't think GCU's going to spot it, so I mean, it's looking like it's going to go their way. Yep. Drake for LBCC.
And remind us, how effective is that Drake? How much of a lead and how much of an advantage does it give LBCC?
Obviously, I think Infernal Drake's really strong. It gives you 4% or 6% to your adaptive force, so either AP or AD, depending on what champ you are. So it's really strong, especially for early laning, and especially after you get a few core items, it's going to increase your damage values a lot. So one of the stronger Drakes you can pull out early. Looks like Vlad's ghosting in the mid lane, mixes Z though, but does press the ultimate ability, and now going to pull. And it looks like a mid is safe for now. He does go down eventually, but it looks like Trundle's there to follow up. No phase rush on the Vlad, looking really dead here. It's another kill for Trundle.
Obviously, interesting gameplay. Love to see it. Obviously, love to learn something new about this. We're here, back in the bottom lane, taking a look over there.
Yeah, bot lane looking like it's going pretty peacefully for now. Obviously, GCU has a small advantage right now. We're about over 1.6k gold at the moment. Really strong looking forward. Obviously, getting that gold advantage early can be so potent, especially for those hero fights that we might look for, especially with the top lane pressure. Lily's going to start stomping this match, especially after she starts to get her Leandri's components.
And, I mean, only a 2-kill technical advantage for GCU, LBCC. I wouldn't say they're pushed into their side. They feel like they're holding their ground still over here. on these midway points.
Looks like Ornn might be in trouble here. It looks like he's going to go sleep as soon as he presses R. You know, when C-Splash gets his W cooldown, oh, gets the flash out. That's really strong in there. He's going to take 2 tower shots. That's rough. And it's looking like something might be happening bot side. Not sure. Maybe Trundle's just looking for a reset after his Krugs here. Stun hits for Aurelia. Good chunk onto Vladimir. Could be looking for a play mid then.
Yeah, and obviously taking awareness of those minions, just dealing little ticks of damage at a time.
Definitely.
So you want to make sure you're not.
Obviously, fighting the minion wave's not a joke. I mean, it can do some serious damage to you, so gotta be a little careful. We see Vi down on the bot side, maybe looking for something here, but it looks like GCU's bot lane's playing safe enough that they won't have to worry. We see the call coming out on Aurelia, trying to get that gold acceleration as well. His stun on the Vladimir again. Looking just to pressure that Vladimir as much as possible, because Vladimir will eventually outscale her, so gotta be a little careful.
Looks like we have 2 GCU players down here on bot lane.
Yep. Looking like they're going for a quick reset. They might look to cancel Leona after having vision on her, but looks like they're going to let her go.
And just hitting the 9-minute mark here in our first set.
Obviously, so we saw the Drake go down in about 6 minutes, 15 seconds. So going to look at another 2 minutes on that Drake timer for the next one coming up. Not sure which one that is quite yet, but I'm sure we'll see eventually. So GCU could be looking to play for that, especially with the pressure up top side. Look like Vi heading up top here, but nothing's going to miss. Hit for LBCC. We got Ornn missing his abilities there. C-Splash looking to trade, though. Chunking out the Ornn. Vi's still here, though. Has to be a little bit careful. But Trundle is there to follow up. Also looking at Vlad at the same time. A lot of action headed out here.
You got to be careful of that tower attack.
But it looks like a mid is a little bit out of mana here, so nothing going to transpire in the mid lane.
The music is so calming still.
It really is. Looks like they're just trying to help Aurelia get this in. Although both supports are here now, so might see a play happen. Flash out from the Aurelia. No R on this ultimate on the Seraphine. And now Vladimir's exhausted in danger zone here. Could be looking for a kill on the Vladimir. Seraphine's no flash and immobilized by the Trundle pillar. Looking like a kill over GCU here. And looking like potential Drake tier. I'm not sure what the timer is exactly on that, but it's coming up very soon. Maybe 45 seconds, so they can at least look for vision. And then maybe look for the Drake off their resets here.
Yeah, and I mean, taking another kill. Looks like Specs absolutely taking control right now.
He really is. I think getting him on a playmaker was really key this game. Obviously, him having the potency to make those plays around the map, especially with strong setup in lanes. We see C-Splash with the massive advantage up in top lane, over 22 CS. To be a little bit expected in this matchup, but at the same time, playing lane to perfection right now. Absolutely demolishing that Ornn in the 1v1, just based off of how the matchup goes. But, I mean, looking at this pressure across the map, I think GCU's setting up for a really good Drake timer here.
And the Drakes, they did add a new element to it, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, the past season or two, they did add a few new Drakes and Souls to it. So in this preseason, I believe, they added Chemtech and Hextech as well as Souls to the game. But then they removed Chemtech, but that's coming back this preseason, so we'll see how that plays out. But right now, looking at the strongest Souls in the game currently are Mountain and Hextech, but let's see what that becomes. Look like they're going and engaging your mid lane. Ornn with the ultimate ability. Aurelia is still staying alive somehow. Vladimir no ultimate or pull ability. Looking like there's a fight on the bottom side too. Vladimir's dead in front of the Trundle. Flash coming out from Kaisa. Big follow-up and big stun by the Aurelia. Aurelia is down though. Overall, 2 for 5 for GCU. Really good plays from them.
And
it looks like they're getting into a free Drake.
Awesome. There's that Drake. And did they wipe that squad?
They did. They got an ace there. So, I mean, obviously after this Drake, I mean, they can look for push mid lane. Looks like C-Splash is already pushing that wave in. Can't really see if he's going for a base. Looks like he did. So he's looking for that wave topside off that TP. We see them coming out to base, but it looks like a free blue buff for them. That's 100 gold and the buff going over to Spec on the Trundle. So, I mean, obviously looking really strong and menacing. That Ornn will not be a threat this game with the Divine on Trundle, and along with that Subjugate ability, making him ultra tanky.
And that 6K gold lead that we just see.
Absolutely. This game is looking done and dusted right now for GCU. Obviously, looking really strong, in a really strong position. especially getting that Mountain Drake, improved resistances, so much extra gold value. It looks like Vlad pops a pool here. Could be looking at a solo potential mid lane, depending on what item spike a mid's on.
And they're putting a lot of pressure right now on LBCC, and I don't know if LBCC is calming right now thinking, guys, we got to figure something out.
Obviously, I think they had to look for something, but obviously, I think they tried too hard to get a lead early when the onus wasn't on them to get that lead.
Yeah.
So I think they messed up in that regard. But obviously, I mean, things can still happen in League. League is a game of comebacks and all the sorts, so we'll have to see what happens. Looks like Vlad has to pop the ult and pop Phase Rush in his pool. Mid is just absolutely winning the matchup now. I believe he has his Bork spike at the moment. Obviously, really good for Aurelia to have. See Leona getting vision. Could be looking for the dive here. No pull on the Vladimir. Vi's over the other wall. Could be a mistake for GCU. See Splash trade in the top lane. Alvaro's backing off to get some farm. Pink's coming out in the bot lane there.
A lot
looks
of
like Vi's
play,
pathing down bot. Looks like her Gromps up after her Wolves to get finished, so heavy trading still coming out in the mid lane. And it looks like a mid is going to pop the Vladimir's Ghost there. Really good stuff from a mid. No Ghost up for the next play. Most likely going to be that Herald or Drake coming up. So no Ghost on Vladimir. Really big deal. Key summoner for him. Looking at that next fight that he won't have it for. So obviously something to keep in mind. Trundle heading up to the Gromp. Maybe looking on the Ornn here, but looks like Lily's on base. So looking at just a reset into more camps or maybe a play bot side even. It looks like a getting out the pool. Vlad's 1 HP. Going to force him off the wave, though, which is really strong. Just getting that slight XP lead from getting that base off. Looking like a lot of action mid lane now.
Yeah, and just approaching that 15-minute mark here. GCU seemingly to have this one, but again, you mentioned it can change in the blink of an eye.
I mean, if they get a few shutdowns, obviously shutdowns are so potent now. But it looks like a mid goes in, but Vlad's right there with the bait by Vladimir with that pull ability. So good stuff there from LBCC to get that a little bit of gold extra. I think Aurelia had a shutdown there, so extra gold going over to LBCC.
Yeah. And yeah, 15 minutes and almost 30 seconds. And it seems that the Drake that we had earlier, is that still in play right now for GCU?
It is. It'll be up soon. I mean, we finished it around, I believe, 11 minutes sometime, so it should be coming up within the next minute about. So we can obviously look for that with our immense gold lead here. Looks like Ornn straightened up on the top side, uses his ultimate ability, but going to be forced off by the Lilia. So strong after that percent damage item, the Leandries comes out. Looks like we get the cleanse out of Kaisa there with the Ashe ultimate. And Aurelia's here now, looking like a clean double kill over from GCU side. Flashed by Seraphine into the Aurelia E. Now Vi's just left up to die, and that's a triple kill heading over to GCU side. 2 on Aurelia. Obviously looking at another shutdown going over the Aurelia, so you got to be a little careful with that gold now. But overall, really good stuff from GCU, extending that gold even further, approaching the 10,000 gold mark of difference.
Wow, and you know, just the pressure they had at the early stages of this game, and they're just continuously applying this pressure, taking out these towers on the left and right sides. These flanks that they're using are absolutely amazing, and you know, being a first-time league caster here and seeing just how fast things can happen, it's quite astonishing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the bot at this top lane right here.
Absolutely. I think at this point, I think LBCC is going to have a really tough time coming back in this game. And obviously, they might be a little demoralized. I think that's normal, especially if you're really far behind. But toughest part is just staying moralized, just trying to keep your head in the game, and obviously thinking about what you can do to get little advantages. I think we saw that in the mid lane, obviously, with the Vlad bait. All of a sudden, the Aurelia, maybe they can look for a shutdown on the Trundle. 1,000 gold if they can kill that guy. So looking like an opportunity.
Yeah. And we talked earlier how the games normally last from, like, you know, 30 to 40 minutes or so. Is this game going to be under 30 minutes, you think?
I think so. I think we're looking at a maybe 25-minute game depending on what GCU does. If they get an early Baron, I think they have the damage for it. Obviously, they have the Ashe. Very strong DPS on the objective, along with Leandries on Lilia. Trundle is also an auto attacker. Got the Bork on Aurelia too, percent HP damage. So obviously they have really strong Baron damage to look for that early Baron here.
And a Rift Herald.
Looks like the Rift Herald's getting popped mid here. Weird that they're not grouped up as a team. They could obviously push for more objectives here with to secure some, but it looks like they're just electing to go for the Drake. Cloud Drake here, sadly one of the worst souls in the game, but obviously they'll still help out GCU with that extra move speed that you get from the soul.
Yeah.
Looks like Aurelia is diving the Kaisa with the help of Ashar. No flash on Kaisa now. And it looks like Aurelia is actually dead here.
Spec is
Guy
godlike.
is going on with the ultimate ability on the Lilia here. Looking like he's going in though. I mean, depending on where Ornn was, I mean, C-Splash could have looked to turn that. Vi has to be a little more careful next time. Obviously, Lilia is not a champ that you can mess around with, especially at this stage of the game with her items completed.
Yeah.
Leona's looking mid here. Not much follow-up though. Looks like nothing's going to happen.
And they'll just continue to wipe away at these minions and just gain some more gold. Almost up to that you said earlier.
See Leona going in here. Obviously, I think this will be a scaling game up until Baron comes up. It comes up in about a minute.
Yeah.
So Baron's a super potent ability, especially in this game. We see a lot of siege potential coming out from GCU, especially with all their CC. With the Baron pressure on the minions, could see a lot of pressure.
If LGCC manages to get the Baron, is that going to give them any at all a chance?
I think it gives them a slight chance. Still really hard for them to come back. Obviously, gold lead is up to almost 1,000 now, 600 off a 1K gold lead. It's going to be hard from this standpoint. Obviously, they're still able to get their jungle camps, but soon enough, if they secure the first Baron as GCU, the LBCC's jungle will become GCU's jungle, and GCU will own the jungle. Vi will get no resources. It's going to be really hard for them to come back from that point.
Yeah. And I think you just mentioned 15 seconds away. Is that Baron coming in soon?
It is. I mean, it would not be surprising to see an early look on the Baron from GCU. Looks like Aurelia's going to go for the Kaisa here with no flash. Looks going to take out the turret, and it's just going to kill her because of Bork. And looks like a really good play from GCU. Could just look straight on the Baron with no AD carry up for LBCC. See Vladimir looking to pressure with Seraphine here. TB coming out from the Aurelia onto the Baron. Obviously, Vi is here. Could be looking for that steal like you were mentioning, but I guess we'll have to see what happens.
Is this that Baron they're slaying away at right now?
This is the Baron. I mean, it's a tanky objective to kill, but with the champions they have really good DPS on it, especially with all the three of their auto attackers here. Horns over the wall with Vi. Could potentially see Aurelia go over the wall here and try and zone off the Vi. Vi's in the pit. Got to be a little careful of the steal coming out. Oh, and they missed smite on the Baron LBCC, so that is going GCU's way now. And they're going to flash onto the Seraphine. No flash now. Ghost by Vladimir. C-Splash is able to keep up with that Lilia passive procced. And it looks like they're just going to siege mid now with that Baron buffs creeps.
Wow. Very, very impressive job right there. And if I am a little, I have a question. Can the Baron be attacked from outside of those walls?
Depending on the champion, yes.
Yes, okay.
I mean, if you're playing a long range AD carry, obviously, if you have the W passive, if you have the W active on Kog'Maw, you can hit over the wall, and so you can be completely safe that way. Additionally, Caitlyn, highest range ADC in the game. If you exclude Senna with stacks, can auto attack over that wall as well. So it just really depends on the champ.
I see, yeah.
Most champs can't auto attack over that wall. You need some sort of range buff to be able to do that. So only a few champs can, but if you can, good way to sneak Baron.
Yes, and past that 10,000 difference mark in gold right there, almost up to 15,000 of a difference mark. I gotta say, for my first time seeing GCU here in action, I mean, I can clap. I'm impressed. Obviously, 19-7 kill ratio. It's a double of what LBCC has put up.
Absolutely. I think GCU does a really good job at accelerating games when they get a lead in, especially Spec. I think he does a great job setting up ganks in accordance to his laners, and his laners do a great job of helping him with those. I think C-Splash does a great job playing a lot of good champs to set up those kills for him. And not to mention, I think the pressure that a mid puts out, although sometimes he may die a few times, I think that's what makes him such a potent threat. Obviously, he has that permanent aggressive mentality. Obviously, he may die a few times, but I think that's what makes him such a great player, exerting that pressure over the map.
There's sacrifice there, but that allows GCU to make these push, take another turret, as we just see.
I mean, we see sometimes those overextensions from Josiah mid here coming out. I mean, may overextend a little bit, but then Trundle's able to follow up based off the damage that he's able to perfectly execute mechanically. So obviously I think some tradeaways there, but obviously that double kill on Trundle absolutely set this game up for success for GCU.
Yep, and they're looking to take that other side of the turret. I don't know how many more they have left.
Looks like Lilia's going to look for the dive here on the Ornn, and I think she has it. Ornn's going to be super low off this now, and I think he dies the Leandries actually. And with the bowling ball, sign him up for the Pro Bowling League, honestly.
Wow.
He's in the wrong league.
Do they offer for scholarships here, GCU? Do they do bowling scholarships? Because he
Honestly,
needs
I'm
to be
not
there.
sure.
He needs to be trying out.
I'm not sure. I'll have to tell him that.
And GCU, they're looking to, are they backing away right now? Are they taking their time, taking another
Looks like
Drake?
they're just going to go for the Drake.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're one-off soul off this, so another 5 minutes they'll have it. But obviously, I don't think they're going to actually get there. I think Baron's going to be coming up in time, so they're going to be looking for... They can siege without Baron now based off of how far ahead they are. 15k gold now.
Wow.
Absolutely insane, and no fight back potential from LBCC. Obviously, if I was them, I'd be looking at next draft, planning on what they can do differently. It's things that they might be able to take away, just different picks that they might be able to pull out.
Yeah, and obviously LBCC, they'll take their time to defend as much as they can, but they can only do so much with the lead that GCU has, and eventually this game will come to a close soon. We're just above, pardon me, just below that 25-minute mark, just hitting that 24-minute mark. You know, the minions doing their part, doing what they can do best, and that is just fight their way through.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're seeing GCU come out here. We're probably going to get off resets here. Just coming off resets, going to be trying to push those waves, get that siege potential going, even without the Baron. Push it in the waves, get that prio on the next Baron that's coming up, so they can finish out the game, close it out before 30 minutes.
Yeah. And would you say the average, we talked again, saying it again, but the average time of a game is 30 to 40 minute mark?
It really depends on what environment you're in. I think in comp play, you're going to see mostly 30 to 40 minute games. Could go longer, could go shorter depending on the comp. Most of the time, 34 minute games.
Yeah.
Solo queue, completely different environment.
Yeah.
Maybe 25 to 40 minutes. Really just depends on the game, but most of the time it's going to be a really quick game or a longer game. Really drawn out. Just really depends what your teammates do.
Definitely. And LBCC playing as much defense as they can right now.
A pro here for LBCC is they are getting the extended minion XP from the super minions that the inhibitors provide for them. So that is more gold and XP going into their pockets. But at the same time, I don't think it's enough to get them quite ahead of GCU.
Yeah. 13 kill lead for GCU. 25 minutes just passed. And will we see the same lineup, or will they ban one of these players for this next round?
That's a great question. I think, obviously, with the Lilia flex potential, could be seeing that a ban, but I think more so if we're going to be seeing a pick of Ornn, we're going to be seeing a Trundle ban, almost certainly.
Yeah. Just
because that champ is very strong in the early game for Trundle, and it can counter Ornn in the later stages, because obviously if Ornn goes even or a little bit behind, which I think he did a solid job of at this match.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think C-Splash put on a really good clinic at the top lane at the same time, but he did do a decent job here on the LBCC side, so obviously banning out the Trundle if you're going to pick the Ornn, making him still that threat in the late game with the super tanky stats.
Gotcha. Yep. 100%. And, man, what an interesting way this has played out. It was close at the beginning.
Absolutely.
It was close.
I do think so. I think those skirmishes in the mid lane could have went either way, but obviously the Trundle coming out on top. That champion versus a lot of 80 threats. Obviously the Vi, really good match for the Trundle there in the jungle, and I think that edged out. And obviously, not to mention the excellent play with 2v2 from Josiah amid there in the mid lane, setting up those Trundles for the double kills.
Yeah, here's that Baron.
Yeah, Nasher is going to go down here for GCU, and they're probably just going to look to segue that into a big siege on the mid lane, or maybe even top lane here, getting that third inhibitor. Josiah's already there with the wave set up on the Aurelia.
Yeah, very impressive. 27 minutes passed. GCU, strong. This is a strong first impression that they've given me. I'm very impressed. 13 kill lead, obviously. Mentioned that earlier. Pushing into the defensive side here of LBCC. And another inhibitor goes down.
Obviously, you got those super waves coming in from the inhibitors, right? You got to be a little careful on LBCC, making sure that they don't get enough damage on those turrets just to dive you. Leona ultimate coming out there. Now they're on the third inhibitor. After they get this, it'll be 2 super minions spawning in each lane, making it that much more a threat. Ornalt coming out to zone them away, maybe even get some damage on the wave, but to no avail. Stunned there by both the Aurelia into the Ashe ultimate, and then Aurelia, Ionia calls, but nothing is coming out. Looks like they're just zoning in 3 waves and they're just going to dive. Vladimir going on the back line, but just too far behind for it to matter. Iona will go down here, but obviously LBCC is falling on the other side of the map. Too much damage and too far ahead for GCU. They can just tank 2 Nexus turrets at the same time while diving. And Aurelia is still alive with the help of Borks and Death Stance. Obviously, it's looking really strong here from GCU and a good, strong performance from them.
And a very, very nice ending. They ace the other team. 25. They added 5 against a 1 elimination right there.
It was a good 5-for-1 fight. Obviously, we see the Leona going in. Obviously, going to go in on that engage. Primarily going to die off that engage, but based off the CC you put out, you're going to see the results. So, obviously, did this job as support, dying, getting that CC down.
Gotcha, and we're getting just word right now. The LBCC just joined in September of the NECC. So, I got to say, I am impressed, though, GCU being a part of this region for quite some time, I'd say now, getting started. Showed up. They showed up.
They did.
And I'll give a hand to LBCC.
I think LBCC did a really good job in the early game. I think after that double kill of Chundle, though, it was really hard after Spec was able to snowball his lead into other lanes outside of just mid and come back to the mid lane after Vladimir was getting a little out of hand there. So I think overall GCU did a really good job after getting those leads to accelerate them. But I think LBCC was just this close to edging out GCU in the early game.
And you said earlier that mid fight that we saw inside of the middle area of the map, it did favor into GCU, giving them that little bit of a lead, that little bit of a push. Will we see it again? Will LBCC be able to, rebel against that, rebuttal? We'll find out in the next match.
I think it'll all come down to draft and how well LBCC is able to execute it, what they're able to take away, and what changes they may change in their game plan to make that happen.
Yeah, and I believe they're. How long do you take normally in between games?
Really depends on the team.
Yeah.
If they want to have a discussion about the game, talk about changes, could be 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Could see a 15-minute break too, but most of the time it'd be 5 to 10 before hopping into the match.
Gotcha.
Just
Sounds
really
good. Well, obviously we'll continue to talk about League of Legends and GCU doing a phenomenal job winning that. I guess I mentioned earlier in the game, later in the game, what are the different bans that you think we're going to see for the GCU squad that LGCC will do?
I'm not 100% sure what LBCC banned last game. If I had to guess, though, it'd be the Urgot from C-Splash. One of his best champs. Obviously, I think they banned that away. Looked for the Ornn pick into it. I think Urgot's a good pick in Ornn, so I think they're going to keep that one on the table. Yeah. Obviously, I think the Talia ban also came out for the side of LBCC, and probably an AD carry ban headed Doug's way. So I think it's hard to change one of those bans. Maybe you're looking at a different AD carry. The Ashe was definitely a problem, but maybe leaving the Aphelios up, maybe that's fine for you if you don't want the extra CC and engage and potency that the utility that Ashe provides to the team. If you're fine with that coming through instead of the Aphelios, but I guess we'll see.
And as one of the leaders of the Yellow Will team here, what would you give your GCU squad members if they happen to be listening to any of this? What kind of advice would you give them right now?
I think we stick to our game plan, play for early game, get that solid lead, and play through then our strong execution in team fights. I think we have a really good job, really strong calls from Ben the Milky Goat. Really good job at understanding when to go in on his engaged champs like the Leona, Nautilus. Plays a great support. So I think playing for those team fights, then those later engages, and setting up C-Splash and Doug, Clyde Tripes to perform.
Definitely. And we're not sure if we can take a break here or not. We'll keep on trying to entertain you guys as we get this next match set up. I'm not sure if we can see over on that spectator computer right there. Do you think you see anything happening soon?
Looks like they're still trying to get in the lobby here, but we'll have to see how that goes.
So after watching my first ever full game of League of Legends, I am a little bit interested. I kind of want to play now.
All right.
So you might have to take me on a trip, show me the
definitely.
reins.
I mean, if you want to play sometime, just let me know.
Definitely.
I'll show you.
We'll head
Basics.
into the esports lounge here at GCU.
Yep, and
which
everyone
is-
should come into Esports Lounge. Great
Yeah.
opportunity to meet members of the community.
Yes, 100%. You can just hang out. You know, you don't even have to play games. A lot of the time, people are just hanging out in there.
Yeah, there's a whole
Talking.
lounge, couches,
Yeah.
TVs.
Watch.
Great place
You
to
can watch
socialize,
other
meet new
people play.
people.
You know,
Mhm.
if you're like, you know what, I want to be a part of the Smash community, which we do have. FFF, I believe, is happening this Friday.
Yep.
So make sure you guys can tune into that.
Crazy
It'll-
tournament. I've never been, but I've always heard crazy things. I know
I've-
they have a YouTube live stream every.
Yeah, they have
it's
the
Friday,
live
so-
stream is great. I've heard that the turnout for it is wildly
It's crazy because I
huge,
mean it's not just GCU students. Everyone around the Phoenix Valley area.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
which is
crazy stuff.
super cool because like a lot of the times, even after that 2020 COVID year hit, it was tough to get back on our feet and have the FFF that we had originally kind of make its way back. And obviously the team that works with that doing a phenomenal job. Shout out to you guys. I kind of want to compete myself. Do you play at all a little bit of Smash?
I have never played Smash. I've played a little bit of Multiverse. I've never really dabbled
okay.
in Smash though.
Who do you play in Multiverses?
Well, I played like about 10 games. Not too well versed in it, but I did consider myself a little bit gifted on Shaggy.
Okay,
I was a little
Shaggy.
bit. I was a little bit okay.
I like that take. Personally, I was a Finn main.
Finn main.
I
Okay.
like that up Y with the Xbox controller. I like that up Y and the neutral Y, I believe it was. I'm not too sure. It's been a while since I played. They've added a couple of new characters. But talking back to Smash, if I were to compete in Smash, obviously I would get wiped because the players that come out, these are good players. They don't joke around. Like I've been tuning into some of these live streams that we've been had for FFF. I didn't even know that some of these movesets that they use are actual possible movesets.
Some of the combos they can perform are crazy. I mean, I think I'm mechanical when it comes to League, but seeing some of these Smash players play,
yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
like the character Steve from Minecraft, obviously in specific. They've got a bunch of different like blocks that they can use. Like I've seen like professionals play and stuff like that. I'm convinced some of these collegiate players that we have coming out just around the area are professionals. It's
Who
wild.
knows?
It's impressive. But if I had to choose a character to compete with, Kirby. Kirby's a go-to. Kirby's a great player to go to. I dabbled a little bit in the King DDD range area, but that arena, it's left me. I don't know. I would go to have fun, and that's what you can do. You don't actually have to compete. You know, obviously it's a lot more fun to compete, but you can still have just as much fun going to that and just hanging out and just meeting all the players, meeting all the people. But again, that's kind of what GCU Esports is about regardless. You know, you don't have to just go to singular events. We have events all the time. We have the Women in Gaming nights, the Wednesday nights here at the GCU Lounge. We have that strictly for the women here of the esports community, so that's really awesome. We show a little bit of love for everybody here.
Absolutely.
Of all communities. It's honestly a great place and a great space. You know, it's safe. You feel comfortable. We're so welcoming, you know. If you've got a question, hey, do you guys have a PlayStation controller with blah, 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 and this button works? You know, we could probably figure something out for you guys. But
Absolutely.
yeah, still taking our time to load in this match. Let me see if we can. I don't know if we're have the ability to take a break or not.
It really just depends on the game and when the teams are ready.
Yeah, so obviously
Guess we're not sure on that
we'll,
yet,
we'll
so.
keep it running here.
Absolutely. And I do have a question for you.
Oh.
And a little bit of task for you, okay? Since you're new to League of Legends, based on what you've seen,
Okay.
in this next game, I want you to determine what champion you want to play first when you first load into the Rift.
Ooh, okay.
Based on
Oh
the
man,
champs
I
you've
gotta
seen.
think of that. I mean, you've been saying, was it Aatrox?
I play Aatrox, a little bit of Camille, and some Gangplank here and there, maybe
Okay.
some Aurelia.
I don't
play
want to
all
I don't want
sorts
to
of stuff, so.
bandwagon on the Aatrox. I feel like I gotta find my own character. I gotta
Absolutely.
find who fits me best. Personally, when it comes to like other games similar to League, you know, Pokemon Unite and stuff like that, I like the long damage, the range characters. I like those range characters because
Maybe you're an AD carry main then.
yeah, maybe
Maybe you look for the AD carry.
yeah,
There's a lot of fun AD carries you can play.
yeah.
So I mean, you
And
got
so,
a lot
yeah.
of choices to choose from.
I guess I really enjoy, you know, I guess maybe I'm a little scared because the tankier characters, they can deal the damage, but I like that feeling of, you know, I like a guy with a bow or like a sniper. Or
High
something
risk,
like
high
that.
reward sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
You're squishy, but you can do the most damage if you play it right.
Right, exactly. So, you know,
Absolutely.
that's why I'm kind of like, I don't want to play the DPS, but I want to play from the range, you know, show support, but not be the person who's taking all the credit.
Yep.
And give me some characters. Let me see. Maybe we'll see one of the
Alright.
characters.
First to come into my mind that you might like.
Yep.
We got Caitlyn.
Caitlyn. That's so funny. That's my
Have you-
sister's name.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We got Ash.
Okay, Ash.
That was what Doug was on last game. Clyde Tripes was playing the Ash. Got that long-range arrow.
Yeah.
Can snipe across maps, make impact plays. But
That sounds like my bread and butter right there.
But we also got Ezreal. Flashy.
Ezreal.
Dashes.
I like Ezreal. I like the
Big
name.
damage.
Okay.
Cross-range ultimate again. Just no CC on this time.
I see. I see.
Trade-off, but lots of damage.
Yeah.
Pretty cool champ.
Yep.
Got Draven, if you're feeling a little bit spicy. Has a little bit of a
Draven.
mini game in his kit. Got to catch those axes. A little
Ooh.
challenging, though.
Okay.
So
I can deal with
you'll
a little
auto attack, but then
challenging.
you got to run to the axe. Could be a challenge.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Do you have to pick the axe back up?
Yeah, you got to pick it up. If you drop it, then you lose like a damage out.
That's tough because
It
you got
is.
that's like accuracy.
Uh-huh.
I feel like
I mean,
that character might take a little bit longer to,
It's a hard
down.
champ. I mean, I play a little bit. I'm not an expert by any means. I say I have like 50 to 100 games on him. I'm still nowhere near as good as the best ones. So, I mean,
Still
it's,
like 50 to 100 games each game.
it's a hard champion. One of
takes
the
some
hardest
time.
ones in League for sure.
Would you say that is the most difficult? What other characters do you think are the most difficult?
Oh, man.
to
I
play?
mean, you got Azir up there.
Yeah.
You got Aurelia. I
Mhm.
think top Fiora gameplay. I think barrier entry is lower, but top Fiora gameplay. I mean, you look at the Eastern Fioras from China. They're so insane on
Yeah.
Fiora. I think those champs are really hard. And obviously you got Callista a little bit hard as well.
Okay.
Some of Ezreal as well, really complex. There's a lot of
Yeah.
complex champions in League.
And so, I mean, I keep thinking back. If I have to play a character, I'm going to play my sister's character's name. I'm going to play Caitlyn. How do they spell it?
C,
See, out.
out.
Unfortunately, that's not. It starts with
Alright.
a K. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I won't give away too much information.
But
on my
Caitlyn
sister's
is in the
name.
hit show on Netflix, Arcane.
Oh, she is.
She is. Yep.
Mm,
Her, Vi, Jinx, Powder at the start. I mean,
yeah.
there's some really cool champions, and I think it's worth a watch. If you haven't
Definitely.
gotten a shot to
Do
watch
they
it.
have an anime for the League of Legends scene yet?
No anime, but it was an animated series that
Okay.
Arcane was. It was a not quite anime style, but
Yeah,
I don't know when the next season's coming out, but I hope it's coming out soon because I'm in the mood for some Arcane right now.
that's cool.
Maybe
That's
the next
cool.
season comes out,
Oh, that's the
ASAP.
thing is like it's fun to see TV shows kind of be created
Absolutely.
off of the games, and sometimes vice versa. I don't know if I could name a game that was created off of. Oh, you know what? Oh, there's a game. It's on the VR. I can't remember what it's called. It's called. Oh darn! This is so. But it's kind of like you're like in a Tron suit and you fly
Okay.
around and you throw like a disc through like a goal.
Okay.
I'm blanking on the name. It's called Echo. And I
Echo.
can't remember what the name of the movie is, but I believe the Echo game was made after the movie was made.
I know like there's a lot of movie franchises like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
They had a few games that came out after the movies.
Yeah.
Right? But that was
Okay.
just like a marketing play.
Well,
I don't know about multiplayer games that I can
Yeah.
think of really.
Did you play ever any of the Lego games?
Of course.
Yes.
My childhood.
Right.
Gotta go back to like Lego Star Wars. I mean, those are my
Classic, the
games.
Skywalker saga.
Oh my gosh, I bought that game. I did not finish it yet. I'm so
Oh, you gotta
annoyed.
finish it.
I gotta finish it sometime,
It's
but
good.
like
They got
it-
all like the new movies.
it just got
and
the
stuff like
nostalgia
that.
flowing in me.
Yeah. Oh man, nostalgia's great.
It
I love
is.
nostalgia.
It's the best feeling in gaming.
What do you miss as a kid?
Cars 2. It has to be
On the
Cars 2. That game was too good. It was too
I
good.
genuinely, I kid you not, I have that game.
It is
Like
so
I still
good.
have my PlayStation 2 at home, and I don't play that game every now and then. I play the Transformers game. I play the Green
Okay.
Army Man game. What are the other games? Lego Star Wars. That game's on the PlayStation 2.
It's great.
That was great. Man, I can't remember
What's your favorite game then of all time?
of all time. Oh gosh, this is such a tough question. Because I want to say like Rocket League's my favorite game of all
Sure.
time, but if I had to like genuinely like sit down and like think about it, it could take me a couple minutes. Do you have a favorite game?
It'd have to be Sid Meier's Civ 3, right? One of my first strategy games
Okay.
I've ever played. Or maybe Madden franchise as a whole. I was
Madden,
really into
that's
Madden.
a good one. I like, I like the Madden Mobile.
Madden Mobile. I played that 1 year.
Yeah.
Right? I just didn't really like the grind. I think it's a lot of grinding
Yeah.
to it, which I think is good in some respects, but at the same time, after you get into it, you're
Yeah.
into it for like a few months, it gets really tiring.
Gotcha.
So.
Definitely. Man, I can't think right now. My favorite game, it might be League of Legends.
Is it? You're convinced now?
Maybe if I give it a shot, I'm coming for a varsity spot. I'm coming for some scholarship.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play Caitlyn. I'm gonna play some long range. I'm gonna play her so well. I'm gonna, maybe I'll play. maybe it might become my favorite game.
Maybe.
Will it?
There's so many champs, though.
I
mean,
can't
can you
guarantee.
just play Caitlyn?
I
You might
can't
have to play multiple.
Right, because if Caitlyn could get banned.
Yeah, you could get banned. Who knows?
Man. Dang, I got
There's so many champs to choose from.
I got to think of other characters. I wish we can get an actual number count of the amount of characters that are in this game. Yeah, I know you said it was in the 120-ish area, maybe a little bit higher.
Like 120, 130, 140, somewhere around there. It
Somewhere
changes
around
every
there.
year, right? So
That's still so bizarre to me.
it's
almost
a lot of champs.
almost near 150, maybe. I don't know exactly, but I wonder how much time and how much preparation they put into these characters that they release.
Definitely.
Because that's like they put in.
If you think about Aphelios, right? I mean, that's like the biggest champion. It was advertised as 200 years of game design, right? I mean, people made memes about it, right, because of how broken the champ was at the start. But it looks like we're actually getting a draft phase here in the game.
There we go.
We see the Samira ban and Urgot coming out here.
That's
Yumi
awesome.
as well.
We'll see if we can pull that up for you guys. We're trying to take a look at this. There you go. You got a better view of that
We
now,
see
Mike?
Talia, Urgot, and Yumi coming out from the side of LBCC. First pick Gangplank. Probably not how it developed in the actual draft, but we see the Azir and looks like they respond with a Volibear top. So good Gangplank matchup for sure. It's
Yeah.
going to scale into the later game. See Karthus coming out for Spec here, one of his most played champs in solo queue, along with a Syndra. Not too big of a fan of that in the draft. Obviously, you want to have solo AP on the Syndra and Karthus, but at the same time, it can work depending on how the comps play out. So we'll have to see how that develops.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the composition of your entire lineup changes almost every game.
Definitely, I think we have a lot of different champs we can pick.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's kind of. I feel like that's kind of why the reason they keep adding these, because there's
Absolutely.
one that kind of goes against the other, and it's kind of like a weakness type, and then you got to find what's the weakness of this weakness, and you find the different things that go against each other, and that's what makes these whole new metas. I feel like get created, and you say that there's patch updates almost. What do you say, monthly? Maybe less.
bi-weekly.
Bi-week, so every 2
weeks.
Every
comes out
2
with a new
weeks,
patch.
characters
Sometimes
change.
it can be month, depending on
Yeah.
how big the patch is.
Yeah,
If it's holiday, it'll be like a month between,
Yeah.
but most of the time
Gotcha.
it's 2 weeks.
that's crazy. That's crazy. This game is near 13 years
Looks
of
like they
its
got
lifetime.
the Morgana coming out too versus the Maokai. So overall, I think GCU has a really good shot at this game. I think they have a really solid comp
That's
into
good.
them.
We'll see if we can bring that up on screen.
Obviously, I think the Gangplank provides a lot of value in the terrain control that his barrels provide. Not only
Yeah.
that, but his ultimate slow and damage is so pivotal in these team fights, especially with those tanky members that are really
For
changed
sure.
by the slows. So
Definitely.
see a lot come out there. New Syndra rework there. Got to be hyped about that.
I mean,
That's going to be exciting to see. I haven't seen this champion in action, but I've only heard good things about it.
that's good.
So
Well, you'll
I'm
get to
excited to
see
see
it
it.
here first, folks, too. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Mike hasn't seen it. I definitely haven't seen it. So
well, let's see. I guess we'll see if there's any solo kills coming out, though, because, I mean, we got that 15% execute on the R
that's
now.
right. Yeah.
15% on the R paired with the Karthusol from global range. We'll have to see how that
A range
pairs.
character. We're seeing a range character today. I love seeing a range character. That's my type of guy.
we got, I believe, 3 range characters on the side of GCU
Woo!
and 3 on the side of LBCC, so we'll have to see how it pops out.
3 range characters? Oh my goodness, this is a dream come true. They heard me. They heard me. They said, "Hey, let's go check in on the GCU Esports stream on YouTube, powered by Rockstar, and see and see what they're saying." And they were like, "Oh, this guy likes range characters. Let's show him who's boss."
Yep,
All right,
just for you.
just for me.
You
I
got your
appreciate it, GCU Varsity Squad.
Obviously, I think if this game goes late, I think the edge goes to GCU. I think
Yeah.
the comp's a lot higher scaling.
That's good.
They had the Victor on the side of LBCC, but I think it's going to be a little overpowered by the Syndra and the Karthus.
Yeah, and we'll see if we can get this pulled up here on our monitor soon, so we can give you guys more. Pardon me. I think we're on the left side of the scoreboard of that the left side.
We're the left side of the
Yeah.
screen now.
Okay, just working with production. We're out in the hallway of the esports lounge.
Yes,
You
we
know,
are.
We're makeshifting. We're flowing, and you know what? That's what we do. That's what we do. We do it best.
We adapt.
We adapt and we achieve and overcome the obstacles in our way of our production. But obviously, we actually didn't have a specialized talent for League of Legends. We asked you 2 hours before the broadcast if
Something
you
like
could
that.
help
Close
us
to that,
out.
yeah.
So we're so grateful that you're here to help analyze and give a more understanding view to the people
great.
watching.
I like doing stuff on the fly. It's sometimes fun.
Yeah, right? And you're having a good time?
Yeah.
That's good.
Of course.
That's good. That's all that we're here for, obviously. We're hopping in the game, I believe. I think they're... do they do any other bands besides just the characters?
Obviously, most of them are just characters based off the draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it pans out in the draft. But I think, based off what I saw, I think they attacked the mid-pool second phase of bands. So that's probably why we got in the Syndra. We saw the Aurelia band coming out from LBCC. Obviously didn't like that pick.
Right.
Especially after Josiah's prowess on the pick.
And
we saw him absolutely abusing that Vladimir lane.
I understand that, yes. Is there any unspoken rules in this game? Is there
Leave
any,
top lane alone.
What's that?
Leave top lane alone. If you lose, also, very key. Even Khan said it himself. Famous top laner. If you lose top lane, it is always jungle gap. That's very important. Okay?
Very important.
Maybe not always true,
know
but
that.
that's what you know as top laners, right? Maybe not
All
always
right.
true, though, but as top laners, it's true.
Alrighty, we are still working on getting into this game. We appreciate everybody's patience. Obviously, they took a little bit longer of a time. You know, they were figuring it out. I think they were trying to figure out, hey, you know, we slipped up early mid-game, I'd say, for LBCC. I think they're going to try and prove, hey, we are in this this region for a reason.
Absolutely.
And see if they can give GCU maybe a tough time.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a good game. I think they've came in with some adjustments, and I'm excited to see how they play out.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to see the Karthus pick. We haven't seen it this year from Spec yet, so
Right.
excited to see how that plays out. I know it draws a lot of bans in the second phase from what I've seen this year, so obviously got that pick earlier on, looking to see how it pans out for Spec. He has a very proficient Karthus, a very strong champion at the moment, especially with the Requiem.
Yeah.
Got to see how that plays out.
Sounds good, and I do believe...
Looks like we're loading in the game right now.
We might be loading in the game right now.
Looks like we'll be seeing gameplay soon.
Sweet.
How it pans out.
All right, game number 2 of this best-of-3 series, GCU versus LBCC here on GCU Esports YouTube. There are the characters. Look at that.
Good.
Look at Spec. What an absolute legend. The Grim Reaper.
Spec on the Karthus with the flash. Obviously very pivotal in these team fights. If Vi comes in with the ultimate ability, lock him down, he can flash into his team and bring her with him. Sorry. My English is not the best at the moment.
That's all right. We've been keeping our mouths moving for almost this entire time.
Absolutely.
So who is that over here on the top right? Is that Meowkai?
Meowkai, that's one of his skins.
Meowkai. Oh, that's his skin.
Yeah, the Milky Goat is famous for his Maokai, one of his best champions and one of his favorite in the game. I know that for a fact. He loves his Maokai. And that champion has had a lot of presence. The World's Championship as well. Played in 3 different roles, primarily jungle, support, and top lane.
Gotcha, and here we go. We are underway for game number 2. LBCC is what we're looking at right now. Taking this this mid route, they're all going there. They're not hesitating.
They're looking for an invade here. Maybe, but Syndra spots them out here, so it looks like nothing's going to happen. Going to go back to the lanes. Looks like Vi maybe looking for a ward.
And what's the main objective? You know, you got 30 seconds before those minions spawn. What do you guys do in that time? Do you try and figure out the other team?
Sure, so obviously you have 1 minute, typically minions spawn at 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
So you have about 30 seconds until they spawn, but they also another 30 seconds until they get to the lane and are CS-able and last hittable, right? So you got a little bit of time to do that. Most of the time it's vision, right? You saw Vi get a ward there on Spec's red side jungle to determine his pathing.
Yeah.
Obviously Spec might back for a sweeper here, get that extra XP to his mid laner so he can hit level 2 off the first wave. But at the same time, you can look for an invade. If you, especially, it's really potent on hook champions, right? You see the Blitzcrank Nautilus a lot of times just go in. They can CC a target from the range and bring them back to their team most of the times as well, creating some CC and damage potential on them. Burning a flash or summoner, maybe even a heal in the process.
Yeah, I can see that. And minions, there we are. Our first little engagement of the night of the second game. Just taking it slow. Taking maybe is this guy? Are we looking at a little bit of a range attacker right here?
It does look like that, yeah. So obviously the Syndra I think has a favorable matchup, especially after she gets a few points in her Q ability.
Yeah.
After that, she has a lot of poke potential in lane and can bully the Victor a lot. We see the saplings coming out from Maokai here, poking away on that that Morgana rather. Bind coming out from Morgana has the Glacial Augment for that extra slow. Taken back by Doug Clydraves on his signature Aphelios. Looks like they switched up their bans from the Aphelios.
Yeah.
Obviously, Doug has that this game. And JP up top lane, pretty simple matchup. He's just going to be queuing, scaling. That champion, after he gets his few first crit items, has a lot of potency in the game.
And a close...
And Doug is now level 2 on the affiliate, starts to become more of a champion, has access to that level 1 ability.
Right, and again, a whole different lineup. I mean, do we see any similar characters that we saw last round?
I think everyone's different except the Kaisa.
Yeah.
And the Vi. The Vi is the same.
Gotcha.
I can admit that. But obviously, I don't think you've ever seen an Affilius, right?
I don't think so.
No, I gotta break something down, okay?
Break it down.
He has about 5 different guns in this kit, okay?
Wow.
All alternating based off of 50 bullets. The bullets can be one bullet for a 1 auto attack, 10 for each spell casted with that gun. So
Okay.
the cycle efficiently. Red, white typically means do not fight. Rhymes,
Okay.
so you can understand that.
Yep.
Green, white, you get the extra Baron damage. Purple gun with that root obviously has that setup similar to an Ashwood on her ultimate ability, and we see a Vi here coming in for this jungle, but Spec's already done with his camps because his champ feels clear so efficiently compared to the Vi. And now they might be looking for a blue buff here, but it looks like Spec's just going for the crab and maybe going to the blue buff after. Syndra has that pressure in mid lane. Obviously the Victor is getting chunked out a lot.
And GCU taking
And we have pressure in all lanes bottom side, GCU does, so obviously going to leverage that, and then maybe an invade on the blue buff. We see Spec actually invading here. Smite on the Vi, no smite on Karthus, so she's just going to get that, but obviously he's forcing out her smite there. Going to slow down her clear a little bit, and Spec's going to probably look for a reset here into a re-clear of his camps that are coming up.
Yeah, and a quick 500 gold lead for the GCU squad here. And it's kind of dwindling down right now as it goes just to 300.
Yeah, it's looking good so far from GCU. Obviously, to be a little bit expected. I think their lanes have a lot more pressure early game.
Yeah.
And looks like a Volibear up in the top side, getting poked out a little bit in this matchup.
And remind me, how crucial is game audio to a player that's in this situation right now?
I think it really depends on the champs, right? Some of the champions can have a lot of sound cues involved with their abilities, so game audio becomes really effective in using it. But there's also a lot of players that don't actually have to use it in their gameplay. They can just play without sound. But obviously, I think a lot of game sounds help out. Sometimes the music, not always the best. Sometimes it can distract you.
Yeah.
I think the game cues on some champions are extremely critical for success.
Yeah. And the minions locking
We
onto
see
that
Spec up on the top
tower.
side, getting that damage onto the Volibear. And then we see a mid trading, getting some more stacks. That's obviously a new change that came in. Obviously, damaging champions gives you those stacks. I think they stack up to 120 now. And you get 2 Q charges at max rank now.
All
so
right.
it's a little bit of a different champion, but overall,
Nothing
still
you can't adjust
thematically
to.
a lot of the same stuff in our kit. We see Splash crashing that wave. Big stacked wave. Maybe going to harass the Volibear under tower. Volibear going for that lethal tempo. Maybe looking for an AP build here. Victor just used his cage ability that stuns up Syndra, so maybe going to look for an opportunity to trade back on him now with that ability down. See bot lane getting back to lane. We see Vi actually looking mid here. Maybe looking on the Raptors for Spec. No smite on Spec, so might just take away the big Raptor. Actually, no, he has smite, so he was able to secure that. Morgana's here as well. Spec is super close to 6 here. Maybe hits it off this next camp on his Krugs. Obviously a very pivotal ultimate. Applies a large magic damage spell to 5 members of the enemy team.
Yeah.
So, gotta be careful of that. Cross map plays. And the Milky Goat actually goes down for first blood here. Just not expecting that damage coming out, I guess. Flashless on the Maokai. Gotta be a little more careful in that, I guess.
Yeah, and that
down.
gold lead that GCU has is actually not theirs anymore.
It is not theirs, nope. And I think LBCC is doing a good job this early game of controlling it. Obviously, I think GCU is a little fine here. They're fine with going down a little bit of gold. They do outscale them eventually with the Karthus, Syndra, Aphelios, and Gangplank, all of them being super strong in the later stages of the game with their scaling potential. So I guess we'll have to see how that pans out. Obviously, if LBCC is able to capitalize, though, on this,
Yeah, they got that first Drake right there.
get that gold lead and leverage it into that Drake slow we were talking about that GCU was able to do last game.
Yeah.
I think we could see a big challenge come out of GCU. So we're gonna have to play. GCU's gonna have to play a little bit smarter if they want to win this.
You know, obviously, taking it slow, just reaching that 7.5-minute mark. Only one elimination in this entire game so far. Is that normal? You know, seeing.
Depends on the comps. I think this game it's very standard. A
Yeah.
lot of the time, I mean, they have to wait for their ultimates to come out a lot for setup, specifically in the jungle. Vi has a lot of setup at level 6 with their ultimate lockdown. Suppresses the enemy for a small bit and hard to get out of. But
Gotcha.
we see Spec actually taking a little bit of gold from the Vi there by taking some of the Raptors. Has the level advantage. Level 6, super strong at the moment. Paired with the Syndra ultimate, could be seeing a look for mid here with that extra burst coming out. Morgana actually grabbed that cannon, I believe. So, not gold going over the Kaisa. I'm curious to see what's happening top lane, actually, right now. Looks like they're just going to crash and reset bottom lane, but I'm curious to see what's happening top lane. Could be seeing a slow push or maybe even a freeze coming out from C-Splash. Looks like it's slow push going into Volibear, though. I think C-Splash is just trying to play safe here. Obviously, Volibear's on the timer here. Gonna eventually win that side lane with a few items on the gangplank, getting those crit scalings up.
Yeah.
Just trying to farm his grasp as effectively as possible.
Yeah, and obviously, gold mount right there, reaching that 9-minute mark. Only one elimination still, but as you said, this comp can only lead to so many eliminations. We're seeing this top lane kind of just stagnant right now, and probably the same over there at the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think obviously we didn't see a lot of action in the early game, but we see the flashless members of GCU, obviously mainly a mid. Has to be a little bit careful of the Vi gank. Has flash and ultimate ready to lock him down along with a Victor follow-up. Has that ultimate ability along with some CC. Could just absolutely one-shot him with no flash, so we're going to have to see some resources pulled from GCU to protect him.
Yeah.
Or Josiah playing a little safer in the mid lane.
And it looks like LBCC is kind of struggling right now. We just have minions right now. The GCU minions just taking chip damage away from the turrets.
Yeah, I think this is a lot on the Karthus, actually. Just able to abuse the Vi. Not the best matchup for the Vi. Outscaling her and potentially winning early game as well, just based off how the champions work. So that's extending our gold lead a lot.
Yeah. And
so
do the attacks you use, do they auto lock onto the enemies and stuff like that, or do you have to be pretty precise?
It depends on the champion, right? Obviously, the auto attacks can lock on, just go on them.
Yeah.
You just click on them, it'll follow. But some champions, like what Doug's playing, have a lot of skill shots involved on his Calibrum gun, the sniper gun, as it's mostly called.
Yeah.
That will require you to hit the skill shot.
I see.
Zeri has an auto attack that is actually a skill shot, so that one you have to be a little more particular with. It just depends how the champ plays. Looks like they're going on the flashless Aphelios right now, but it looks like they're just going to turn it around. But Vi's here. Obviously going to die to the turret, though, and Spec gets that kill on the Karthus. More damage going over to him. Obviously, both bot laners are really low here. Flash coming up on the Karthus soon. Maybe looking for a play, but it looks like he's just going to back off with them. Looks like Josiah is going to die in the mid lane here. Sadly, playing not to the best of his champion's limits there. Wasn't able to get those that 15% execute that we were talking about early on on the Victor. So the Victor was able to edge him out in that trade.
Yeah, and GCU might have to regroup right here and try and figure something out. It feels like
I see Drake coming up in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Not sure if a mid's going to be coming up there for that, so we'll have to see how that pans out for him. But it looks like that'll be going second Drake in favor of LBCC. Go for LBCC's side. Obviously looking a little gloom for GCU at the moment, but still having that gold lead in their advantage.
Yes.
And that scaling advantage that's present, so I wouldn't be too concerned. Obviously, should just fight for the third Drake instead.
Yeah. I would say from my small amount of experience in League, I would say that might be the best play right now for GCU to try and put a little bit of a fight into this game.
Absolutely. Scaling is key in this game.
Taking a look at this bottom lane right here. Back up top.
Yeah, it looks like GCU's trying to fight for this Drake, actually. We'll see how that pans out. Excuse me. C-Splash obviously has pressure up top, chunking the Volibear down after he got his Essence Reaver completed. Big power spike for him.
There is that Drake, but 2 members of each squad right here trying to show some pressure.
Looks
Maybe
like Spec's going to get hit by some poke here. Got to be a little bit careful, but does have Flash to potentially just die in his passive as Karthus and look for the Requiem after death.
Yep.
Let's see how they play this out, though.
And there you go, 4
And it looks like they're just going to seed this Drake over to the LBCC. Actually, no. Looks like they're actually going to go for the fight. I think this is a misplay on GCU's part. I think they should just give it, look for the next Drake, look for maybe a cross-map play.
Yeah.
Obviously, you see the red side camps up on the side of LBCC. That's more gold for the Karthus to funnel.
Yeah. Yeah, and there we go, back on that bottom lane.
Obviously, GCU's just playing the clock right now. Have the scaling advantage here on their side. And it looks like they're actually going in here on the Morgana. Pops the Zanyas, obviously. And looks like a kill going over the Clyde Tripes. And Milky Goats get out scot-free. Looking good for GCU. More gold in their advantage. Up 2k gold now on the bot lane. Got that red-white don't fight combo on the Aphelios. Could be looking for some plates here in the bot lane. Looks like Kai's just going to zone him off here.
Slowly chip away at that turret on that right side.
And it looks like Herald was dropped top lane. Got some plates there for the Volibear. And it looks like Clyde actually sees an angle here on the Kaisa with the Requiem combo from across the map. Karthus is so potent, especially with these high damage threats on GCU's side. Good result. And now we have upwards of a 2.3k gold lead for GCU.
Yeah. And getting a little bit of audio, too.
We do hear the music coming out from Summoner's Rift. Oh, so peaceful combo. 3-part coming out from GP. And Karthus looking mid here. High tempo gameplay. Stun on the Victor. Gonna go over to a mid. Getting more kills on those Sinders. More of those stacks. Scaling in later and later in the game.
Yeah, and evening out those kills right there. 4 apiece now for each squad. Just hitting that 15-minute mark. Do we see the Drake coming up anytime soon? The third one?
A 3k gold lead for GCU.
Yeah.
Crazy swing of gold here. Obviously looking really good on the side of GCU.
Took them a little bit to get their rhythm, but they might have found something going for them now. As they chip away at this that mid turret right there.
Obviously, I think these champions are starting to scale a lot. You see Karthus almost level 11. Big level for him to get that Requiem on a shorter cooldown so he can ult more cross-map plays.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the extended damage, right? The more damage GCU gets, the harder it's going to be for LBCC to play.
Definitely.
Especially with their champs all going into GCU. GCU loves that, right?
Yeah. What do you think the smartest move right now is for GCU?
I think it's hunker down until next Drake. Fight next Drake. Fighting next Drake's a must. Obviously, you don't want them to get soul. Not sure what next Drake is. It looks like it's Mountain Soul. Can't have them get that.
Yeah.
See Gangplank getting pressured here in the top lane. Some stuns coming out. Actually going to get the flash at a Gangplank by Volibear. Running into it, and it looks like a solo kill is happening in the top lane. C-Splash was not expecting that damage coming out from Volibear. I think that's to be expected. I think there's AP damage coming out from him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what items he has, if we can pull that up. Observers, see a little bit of the items, but I'm expecting a Nashor's Tooth coming out from him.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that power coming out from the Volibear and burst damage.
Yep. And remind me, how much time do we have until this next Drake?
And Aphelios gets a kill on Morgana. Wow. Was not expecting the green gun there. Yeah. But obviously looking like a decent amount of time coming on the Drake. Still not in that 1 minute threshold where we'd seen the time clock there.
So they might have this guy. Oh, you can go through walls. Did not know that. Thought they had him trapped in a little bit of a corner right there. In the distance. Looks like LBCC is going to get their first turret, actually, of this entire night. And again, we did want to see those items, if possible. take their time. And there it is. Another turret from the blue team.
Looks like we're going to get a response kill on the Volibear here. No ultimate after using it on the Gangplank. Looks like he's just going to run away, though. Has to flash. No flash on Volibear. Pretty key. No flash ultimate coming out next fight for him.
Yeah.
So obviously something that they don't have the engage for. Now Gangplank getting some damage on the bottom turret. A little bit afraid of maybe a dive onto him by the Vi. And now they're on the Victor with the Crown of the Shattered Queen. Gets the slow on him, forcing him flash out right before the Drake. Should be a free Drake for GCU now, but the counter engage coming in from the Vi. Lots of damage on the Clyde Tripes. TP coming out from Volibear now from the top lane. And now they're flashing on the Gangplank, and he is dead, flashless in the pit.
Wow.
So now LBCC looking poised to take this Drake here. Obviously, I think that's a lot of damage, and followed up with Requiem. That's going to be a lot of kills for GCU, and it's going to be their Drake to take.
They're going to have to back away now. They don't want to give up too much time for...
Yellow Force coming out. Failed ultimate by the Volibear. We see Victor low HP. Syndra getting that kill. Popping the ultimate from Victor as well. Kaisa ulting in to finish off the Syndra. But overall, GCU still in a good position to take this Drake. Just have to be a little bit careful of getting bursted out.
Yeah, just when they looked like they were pinned in their own corner. And a great ultimate. I can't remember who that
Clyde Tripes with the Moonlight Vigil on Aphelios. Obviously has that flamethrower gun. You're going to see the most AoE from that gun. And it's going to result in a lot of damage there in the team fight. So you got to be a little bit careful of that.
Yeah.
Surprising in ban it, honestly. One of his most comfortable champs. Got to be a little bit careful of that.
Definitely.
See more Ghana clearing vision here. Vi back to farm air camps up. GCU getting that Mountain Drake. Like in last game, a lot of key resistances and stats going over to their side now.
Right. And again, a lead of gold for GCU.
Absolutely. 3.3K. Obviously about the same as it was, but with their champ scaling up a lot better than LBCCs, you're going to see a lot of damage start to come out from GCU as they get their items. Spec almost to a Shadow Flame now. Has it actually a very big spike for him. Going to be doing near true damage to a lot of the champions on their side of LBCC. We see the Crown of the Shattered Queen on Victor. Obviously got to protect yourself from the Syndra and Karthus Requiem. A lot of kill pressure. And we see the Sunder actually on Volibear here. Looking like he's going into Frozen Heart to prevent the Aphelios and Gangplank damage on him. We see a lethality build coming out from Gangplank, obviously playing for those one-shot barrels in team fights where he can absolutely blow up the enemy AD carry.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see how this plays out in the fights to come. Drake's going to be coming up soon. Baron is on the table now, so something you got to take into consideration as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like they're just going to clear vision after dropping Herald mid. Maybe they're going to get a charge on the mid turret. Going to actually destroy the mid turret. And overall, GCU is just going to look to clear some mid waves up until the next objective spawns.
That'll help them out. Take some time, you know, regroup, try and figure out how to get around, maybe flank, try and get behind this enemy line and kind of push them forward, try and figure something out. 7-7 again for the eliminations in this game, a 3K lead just about for GCU on that gold. A lot of items being used today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main one that we're seeing in this game, obviously the Divine Sunder, very strong item on this patch, right? You got the percent heal for max health along with the Sheen proc from the percent of their maximum HP.
Yeah.
Not as much value in this game, but still such a strong item with that heal. Makes your frontline bruisers in the Vi and the Volibear a lot more tanky. So something you got to consider on GCU side, that hidden tankiness from the heal procs of the Divine Sunder.
And just underneath that 22-minute mark. I don't know if anybody took care of that Baron. Cannot remember.
Yeah, so obviously I think we're in a little bit of a lull state right now.
Yeah.
Not too much going to be happening up until this next Drake's going to spawn. One side could pressure the Baron, obviously, but you don't want to take that risk, especially if you're GCU.
Exactly.
And LBCC don't have that luxury to take that risk because they're a little bit behind in gold to a scaling composition that will just win team fights.
And they don't want to waste it, too. They want
Absolutely.
to be safe and cautious with the resources that they have.
obviously, so here for GCU, you're just waiting for the next Drake, right? Trying to get that soul point, get towards those Drake win conditions. But also, you got to take into account towers, right? Maybe you can look to get mid-prio with that priority that you have. Strong A to carry Doug on his Aphelios here. Low mid-turret could be looking for a sideline play. Who knows?
Yeah. And remind us, when is that next Drake spawning? Is that at the 25-minute mark?
It'll probably be around the 25-minute, maybe even sooner. Obviously, the last Drake went down around 19, 20 minutes, so we'll have to see. It's 5 minutes after the last Drake. I'm not 100% sure on the timer.
Gotcha.
So we'll have to see.
Understood, yeah. Over here in the that mid-left flank, see if we can get anything going. GCU is still hanging in there. 4K gold lead, still tied 7 apiece for eliminations.
Obviously, I mean, you got the Gangplank passive, right?
Yeah.
And his Q parlay ability. That gives him a lot of free gold. So obviously we see the 40 CS lead on the Gangplank, but that doesn't even paint in the picture the amount of gold lead he has, just because he gets 7 extra gold at level 9 from his each parlay on each minion. So
that's
I mean,
a bonus.
It's a lot of extra gold that he could have over this Volibear right now. And Volibear is obviously in a little bit of danger here, depending on how well Syndra plays this. Gonna ult.
Get away from it.
He kills the Syndra. Wow, that's a lot of burst damage coming out from the lethal tempo there. And Drake is soon coming up. Obviously, a mid has TP to join the fight, but will let LBCC start to take some vision for free here.
Yeah.
And big barrel coming out from Gangplank onto the Kai'Sa there in the back line. Another big barrel coming out. And Requiem to follow up, and that is going to be a double kill.
Woo!
For GCU.
Needed that. Now with this Drake in, they'll take advantage of it. And they got it.
Another root coming out by the Aphelios here. Maokai chasing around, slow by the sapling. Volibear here to zone them off. Doesn't look like there's going to be another play. Maybe trying to look for the cancel on the base from Victor, but looks like he's going to get out on his recall. Gale forced to cancel him, though. Doug Clyters maybe needs to be a little bit careful, but has the heal up from the Severum gun. Going to be A-OK here, and it looks like Spec's going to get another kill, up to 6 total on the board for Spec. Absolutely massive on the Karthus. Maybe looking for a Magi's or Void Staff here. Obviously, Magi's a lot of high risk, high reward.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to go for it, obviously, because he's ahead. A lot more risk than if you die. Lose the 10 stacks along with that shutdown that he has built up for himself.
Yeah. So another red turret going down for LBCC. Still, that is very impressive. 6 eliminations from Spec. And that, who was that double kill? Who had that double kill?
It was Spec with the Requiem. Yeah, the Requiem follow-up on that engage. Obviously would have got 3 if Vi didn't have a Hex Drinker, but the Hex Drinker shield saved her in that fight. So obviously we're looking for posture around that Baron here, looking for vision. Obviously, I think GCU has a very strong Baron with someone that can tank in the Maokai permanently with that passive, and along with those saplings for vision. Obviously makes it very hard for LBCC to contest. We see this gold lead 5K now on the side of GCU.
Yeah, and they're
obviously higher scaling champs as well. Have that edge in those fights, so we're gonna have to see how this pans out.
And they are not hesitating, taking care of the Baron, but also making sure that the enemy around them.
Baron's getting a little low here, gonna reset a little bit. Obviously, this Chaos Storm from Victor zones him off a little bit. It looks like it's down to 1K. Looks like a little bit of a failed smite there from Spec, but doesn't matter as Vi was not in range. Looks like they're actually pressuring mid turret. And they're going to take away 1 turret as well. They almost didn't take it away. They almost forgot to auto it, but they did get there eventually. Obviously, no cannon barrage now on the Gangplank, so maybe you have to be a little bit careful on the side of GCU in terms of disengage. But with the Baron buff, I don't think that's something you have to worry about. They have more disengage with the Maokai and his ultimate ability, as long as with the Syndra Scatter of the Weak ability.
Yeah, and obviously all 5 players here of the GCU varsity squad pushing up, but taking their time, being cautious, making sure that they're in cahoots with each other, knowing and communicating well. And, you know, that's what it is all about, is using those comms that you have to make sure that you guys know when you're attacking and when you have to back off.
Absolutely. Comms are so important in competitive play. explaining when you want to go, what resources you might need as a laner from your jungler that helps facilitate those lanes, and obviously communing with your jungler, how you can help him get ahead. I think that's what GCU does such a good job with. Obviously, I think we saw Milky Goat and him having a lot of synergy this game, looking on those invades in the jungle, which got him so far ahead and able to just absolutely 1v9 with his ultimate Requiem from that farm advantage he was able to accrue.
Yeah, and just poking away at these turrets from the outside, GCU is managing to creep their way into maybe another victory here. I wouldn't count LBCC out of this yet, but you never know what can happen.
Yeah, obviously we'll have to see. Obviously GCU might throw a major curveball at us and somehow die 5-man, and they might get an inhib into another crazy fight, but it's really hard for GCU to lose at this point. Obviously the Gangplank really getting close to his item spikes, at which point he will be one-shotting that backline here with the Requiem, so
very much.
This is something you have to consider.
Slowly making their way into this
Crown of the Shadow Queen
territory.
off, though, looking like they're going on the Syndra here. Flash out from the Victor into Scatter of the Weak, and Syndra is out. A-OK, has to blow the Cannon Barrage by GCU. Requiem coming out from Karthus here, and it looks like Vi will actually get the kill on Syndra after chasing. But 2 turrets down on the top side of the map. Going to go for a third. Looking like they're going to be able to get 2 inhibs here on the side of GCU. 2 minions now spawning, and obviously can look to threaten an end then on the next set of waves.
There it is. First inhibitor destroyed of the LBCC side. That top turret right there, just low on health, probably under 20% remaining on that.
Absolutely. I think they zoned off just because they were worried about maybe the Victor coming back with full health, push him off after the Syndra died, but I think the Syndra now has a lot of potential for kill threat on them just because of that finished Rabadon's. Really close to the Void Staff as well, doing a lot of damage to even these tanks now, especially that Vi after she got her Maw of Malmortius. We see red side starting to move towards the Drake. It's going to be up soon for GCU, getting vision right now. But LBCC is actually moving towards the mid wave because they have those supers pushing in that they need to clear. And they got the Drake. 1 off soul point now for GCU. Ultimate ability coming in from Maokai with that move speed that just came in from a later soon patch. And wow, that's a lot of damage coming out from Josiah mid on the Syndra. Nearly one-shotting the Morgana down to 1 HP there. We see Milky Goat just clearing out some of those zombie wards in the enemy jungle there. And now they're clearing mid-wave. Going to posture for this top turret probably, or maybe even the bottom lane. But it looks like their waves are actually pushing out, so they need to go catch a wave in order to take those turrets. Baron we're going to see soon again. Obviously their Baron wore off from the last time.
That's
but
right, yeah.
after that, they'll probably be up in a minute and a half about. So Jonah should probably just look onto that and look through through one of their inhibitor lanes.
Still showing like aggression, not as much, but still being able to put pressure on the LBCC defense right here.
I think that comes down to a lot of their champions, right? A lot of controlling, a lot of zone potential and range advantage, especially on the Syndra, right? You got the Scatter of the Weak that can reach enemies nearly 2,000 units away, so obviously a lot of zone potential. And that barrel combo, wow.
Very impressive
being able to dodge it there out from the Morgana. Well played by C-Splash there on the Gangplank.
Not hesitating at all. They now want this. I think, if I'm mistaken, they're trying to go for this win right now. Maybe take a little bit of time. I think they can threaten it, especially with the Morgana dead. No counter engage there, or engage protection there, and double Scatter of the Weak there. There goes another inhibitor just up top. Almost
Chaos
out.
Storm coming out for Victor, looking to clear the wave and get some chip damage on the Aphelios. Obviously, Victor has to reset there. Drake's coming up. Or Baron's coming up in less than a minute. GCU's probably going to look for a reset into Baron combo, and then finish up the game without even having to gather soul. Again, looking at that 35-minute mark, that will probably see the game end at.
Yes. And I gotta say, impressed. GCU for the games that I have casted, both Valorant and League of Legends. I'm not saying it's over yet for LBCC, but both games that I have casted sweeped. A clean sweep. I have yet to see GCU lose a match.
Absolutely.
That just shows GCU Esports unstoppable.
Force to be reckoned with in this league for sure.
That's correct, yeah.
Obviously, this division has a few top competitors. I obviously haven't been able to look at all of them, but I think GCU is definitely a top competitor.
It's got to be.
They're going to be a threat for playoffs. Honestly, I think they have their sights set on there right now after getting 3-0 today. If they do end up closing out this game, it's looking pretty grim for LBCC, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Posturing for vision now with the Maokai saplings around the Baron. Gonna look for that Baron. I think LBCC is gonna have to try in here, but they have those supers pushing in there, so they have to be a little bit careful.
That barrier goes up right there.
Syndra's just ending the game here topside. Can we get a pan topside? And Syndra gets the kill onto the Kaisa. TP coming out from Gangplank to join. TP coming out from Victor to follow as well. Morgana trying to go on the back line. Gets one shot by the parlay from Gangplank. Now the ultimate cannon barrage coming out from Gangplank into the Syndra. Gangplank gets the kill on Victor.